right. All right. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Music by Samantha Dragonati. Links in the description. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hello, hello. Great topic for today. I'm so excited to go over it. This is a theme for today. We are focusing, locking in coffee dates. Yay or nay or gay. Really, these are the top 3 questions we have to ask ourselves, guys. These are your only options for answers. I made coffee for this special occasion. So here we are, girl. Yes, Chad said, wake up. Brittany is on. Wake up, girls. Your show is on, and we are ready to get it on. In a non-parasocial way. Okay, let's talk about it, girls. This video is making the rounds. People are absolutely talking about it. And I have like 40 other videos of people who have very strong opinions about coffee dates. So, okay, let's focus. We do philosophy through pop culture. We understand that everyone lives in their own cultural bubble, their own perception of what is a good sign and a bad sign. When we talk about connectivity and relationships, and I just posted a video about fighting on my podcast channel. If you guys are new to my channel, Neurodivergent, like a visual podcast, go check that out. But when we talk about language differences, this is what I'm talking about. If one couple can say, of course we fight in my relationship, or another couple says, of course we never fight, what does really fight mean? And same with this, I don't accept coffee dates. Of course I love a coffee date. What does this mean to the bubble? Okay, like, what do we mean? What does it mean? What does it translate? And I'll share myself, the bubble I grew up in, and why I think this is such an interesting conversation. But first, let's watch the lady who was nice enough to share this video. She did not know it was going to make the rounds. So I think that's kind of interesting when people post, especially like spicy comments, and then they kind of wonder like why people have such a reaction. Let's get into it. Chat, thank you, said this top really shows off your arms. Love it. Thank you so much. You know, honestly, girls, it's back. We're back into it. Listen, I think summer and going plant-based really took away my motivation for working out, but I can feel it. It's coming back. I can feel it. I'm about to do it because my arms right now are kind of pathetic. But like they're gonna look really good this winter. I think winter, it's just like a really great reason to get back into routines. I think summer is here to tempt us off our routines. You know, I think that's what it's for. So I appreciate that. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. What do you guys think? Here we go.
A man asked me for coffee today after work, and I politely told him no, and then brought myself to McAllister's, where I got this croissant, this grilled chicken sandwich, and an entire bowl of broccoli cheddar soup and a Dr. Pepper for under $25. Now, I'm not going to argue with you about how you like to date, just like I don't want you to argue with me about how I like to date. But coffee is never going to be an option for me. And just like I respect your choice to coffee, respect mine to not coffee.
Okay, what do we think about that? What are we getting? So let's do this. Let's zoom out because I know this has already evoked a lot of feelings from people. Let's zoom out. Let's dissect the language. I think that's the best way we can do this as a team together. Okay, first, let's watch it again. Hold on. Let's watch it again.
A man asked me for coffee today after work, and I politely...
Okay, pause. A man asked me for coffee after work today. So, okay, that already, coffee after work is kind of difficult because, you know, you don't want to be having coffee late at night, but maybe there's something you can get at a coffee shop that isn't necessarily coffee. Okay, so that's something. Okay.
politely told him no, and then brought myself to McAllister's, where
And then she brought herself to McAllister's, which I do not know what that is. Is anybody in an area where there is a thing called McAllister's? What is it? Is it a Starbucks? Is it a restaurant? What is it? Can anyone tell me what it is? Okay.
I got this croissant, this grilled chicken sandwich, and an entire bowl of broccoli cheddar soup and a
Okay, noted on her food choices. Delicious.
Dr. Pepper for under $25.
I mean, I can't eat it because I'm plant-based, but delicious.
Now,
Okay, McAllister's for under 25. Okay, that's nice. McAllister's, I guess, is a okay, mac and cheese sandwiches, soups, and salads. Okay, so it's like a panini grill, right? It's like a panini.
I'm not going to argue with you about how
No, I'm sorry, Panera bread. Panini grill or Panera bread? I don't eat at these places, but like I assume that's what she means. McAllister's like a fast casual chain restaurant. Yeah, so like a Panera, which I think is overpriced and doesn't have enough seasoning for me, but whatever. I love a deli though. I do love a deli. So no shitting on delis. I do love a deli. Is Panini Grill a place, or am I mixing up names here? I do love a deli. I love a coffee shop. I love a cafe. I love all of that. Okay.
You like today, just like I don't want you to argue with me.
Okay, now this part is the most interesting part. Listen to this.
Today, just like I don't want you to argue broccoli cheddar soup and a Dr. Pepper for under $25. Now, I'm not going to argue with you about how you like today, just like I don't want you to argue with me about, but coffee is never going to be an option.
She said, I don't want you to argue with how I like to date, just like I'm not going to argue with how you like to date, but coffee is never an option. Now, and some of the alleged follow-ups, I couldn't, maybe I have them here. I pulled up a bunch of videos, but just some notes. I think she is a nurse. And from my understanding, and I could be wrong, she also doesn't like coffee. Okay. This is my first impression of the video. It felt like she wasn't just sharing her opinion. She also holds judgment for people who go on coffee dates, which is fair. And she's allowed to hold that judgment, just like I judge you for being a Christian, just like I judge you for holding on to patriarchal values, just like I judge you for dating that bum of a man. Just like we all judge everybody, but okay, so I'm not mad she's judging people who go on coffee dates. The question is, if we look back on our judgments, where do they come from? That's what's important. Is like, why are we judging? So I know I'm judging people who uphold patriarchal belief systems because I know they come at the expense of women and often LGBTQIA people. Okay, so bigotry is the reason why I don't uphold these patriarchal systems. Why don't you allow people to go on coffee dates, or why are you judging people on coffee dates? Okay, that's interesting. Now, she's not the only one with this opinion. It is actually really common. Here's the other woman who talked about it. Now, this woman has the American flag in the background, which for me gives conservative, but I couldn't quite figure out where she stood in that respect. But listen to this one.
I prefer a coffee date for a first date. When I'm meeting some unpopular opinion, I prefer a coffee date for a first date. When I'm meeting somebody on an app, I have no idea who they are. The last thing I want to do is give up an evening of mine to sit through, which I have done so many fucking times. I can't even begin to express how many guys will say, let's go out for drinks, so let's get dinner. And you're sitting there, and within seconds of even meeting them, you know you're not interested in them. You know that this is not somebody that's your person. You can feel the vibe is off, but now you have to sit through an entire dinner. And the thoughts of even saying that means that you are more of a high quality person, if you're putting your self-esteem in the fact that someone's taking you out to dinner versus coffee, that's a bigger conversation for us to have. I run multiple businesses. I'm a dating coach. I've got a clothing company.
A lot of these dating coaches on TikTok are actually, okay, so this is the opposite opinion, but for different reasons. Listen to the reason. She's vetting. But hold on. Am I the only one who's sick of these dating coaches on TikTok? Because I'm literally sick of them. I am so exhausted about them.
Called Software and a podcast. I don't drink alcohol. So why would I spend an evening of mine that could be spent doing a million other things when I could just go meet for a quick coffee during the day, no distraction, see the person for who they are, no harm, no foul. If it's good, great. We can plan for a second date and go out for a beautiful dinner together and have a great night together. And if it's not, see you later. It was nice to meet you.
Okay, I want us to think about something that I was thinking about when I was thinking about this topic. Wow, I said thinking about a lot right there. It's the coffee. I'm having my second cup of coffee. Before I even decide what kind of date is about to happen, I'm just trying to figure out realistically why we're even dating in the first place. You know, what is a date? What is the purpose of a date? What is the point of a date? Why are we going on a date? Because in my dating history, I've done all kinds of dates. And every single one of them were for all different kinds of reasons. Like, it was never about a hard rule. I never had a hard rule about dating. I never had a first dates have to be this way or first dates have to be this way. I just, with the person I was going on a date with, made a decision about what we wanted to do on that date. It was a conversation. It was a, hi, would you like to go on a date? Oh my God, what were you thinking? Yeah, what were you? Do you know what I'm saying? It was never like a hard and fast rule, but I grew up in a very conservative bubble that in Orange County, we weren't a rich family, but we were middle class. In coffee dates and cafe datings were very normal. And also coffee shops were like, they weren't chains. You wouldn't go to a chain, though you could. You would go like to the Orange Circle and go to like an iconic coffee shop or something. You know, you'd go to like a a cool coffee shop or a cafe, or you'd go to San Diego and go to like one of the queer iconic coffee shops. You'd go to, you know, like a really cool coffee shop for a date. And our coffee shops often have food. So it'd be like a light lunch date or something. It wouldn't necessarily be a negative, but also because I grew up in the bubble I did, the one thing you never wanted to signal to a person with money is that you cared that they had money. So you wouldn't say no to a coffee date because like then you're shallow, you're kind of snobby in my bubble. So then I have to wonder, like, how is like money playing into this, status playing into this? Because I have like some crazy TikToks to show you where girls are like, the only way I'd go on a coffee date is if I was dating a millionaire. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Chet says, unfortunately, the dating coach lady is just correct. Coffee dates are basically perfect for meeting a stranger off an app. Yeah, but I don't disagree with her, right? I want to make that clear. I'm sick of coaching, like dating coaches, but like, I'm not opposed to her. I didn't mean to imply I didn't agree with her. I agree with both these ladies for different reasons. And I also, I think both of them can make sense. I just don't think we're not talking about rape here, guys. We're talking about coffee dates. So like, I don't care that you have a preference over coffee dates or not coffee dates. You know what I mean? So just to be clear, like this is a completely preference conversation. No one is unethical for going on or not going on coffee dates. So this is a very chill stream. Okay. So just to put that out there, this is not a real conversation. This is not a serious conversation. This is 100% you do you, figure it out. But I want to suggest a third option. No hard and fast rules about dating that have to do around money unless that person is scamming you or taking advantage of you or something like that. Because I've realized after looking at a lot of these TikToks that, you know, at least from the bubble I grew up in, if a man takes you out on a really fancy date the first time, he's scamming you. So other bubbles think he's romanticizing you, but I grew up with my dad and my mom always telling me, like, be careful how a man treats you on the first date, because if he goes over and beyond, like too extravagant, he probably wants something from you. And because I grew up Catholic, we didn't have sex before marriage. So why is he dropping $400 on a first date? Well, let's go to sushi, bro. It's like $45, $60 at the time. You know what I mean? Like if a man goes too over and beyond on a first date, it's suspicious. But for some bubbles, that's the minimum expectation. But then I do think there's a correlation between these men who throw up too much money on a first date and these women who expect it, and I think really toxic relationships. But hear me out. One of my infamous first dates I had with somebody, I knew them beforehand. So we were introduced by a friend, and so I knew them. But my first date with this person, I dropped $400 on the date because I wanted the experience and I would have done it for myself. So I basically said, if we're going to go on a first date, I want to try this restaurant in Seattle. It's called the Pink Door. If it's still there, it's really great. Or at least it was great when I went years and years and years ago. It's like 8 years ago. I was like, I really love the idea of this restaurant. I want to go, but it's pretty expensive. So I'll pay because I'm asking you out. Let's go. So I went out and I paid for the date. And yeah, it was a great experience. Like no regrets, right? Like zero regrets. Fabulous experience. Did I do that in any other first date? No. But that one was special because I wanted to go to the restaurant, but the person wasn't special. Does that kind of make sense? Like the person didn't have to be special for me to want a date that was unique because I wanted the experience. You know, it just feels weird when people are like, oh, the first date has to be this, that. The first, I don't know. I'm just trying to have fun. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to enjoy my experience in a sense, right? Let's see. Chat says, I think the first lady was trying to emphasize that McAllister's is like a cheap date as a coffee date, but more satisfying. I'm personally confused why people are framing it as more money and more effort. Yeah, that's a good question. People are framing it that way. Like the more money you spend, the better the effort. But I also feel like a coffee date is a lunch date. So when people say, do you want to go on a coffee date? I assume they mean a lunch date because I've never been to a coffee shop where I couldn't get a sandwich. That's why Croatia is so weird to me. The weirdest part about Croatia living here is every cafe I go to, I'm like, can I get food? And they're like, no. And I'm like, what the fuck? They're like, it's a coffee shop. You come for coffee. I was like, yeah, but I want fries with my coffee. I want a sandwich. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I've never been to a coffee shop in America that also wasn't a lunch spot. So it just feels like weird to me, I guess, that we didn't assume that a coffee date also meant like a cafe date. Do you know what I mean? I assume you were asking me out to eat, but after work, okay, so then I can understand from her perspective being like, oh, it's after work. I'm hungry. I want dinner. So then maybe I would, okay, can I be honest with you? She didn't say no because he offered her a coffee date. She just wasn't into him. I refuse to engage in a reality where you deny somebody a date because they didn't ask for the date that would have been perfect for you, instead of you just saying, actually, instead of a coffee date, you want to go to McAllister's with me? Do you know what I mean? If she was into him and she said, oh my God, like I actually don't drink coffee. Do you want to go to McAllister's though? Like, just go get food. So then it feels like, this is what I'm saying about dating. It shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be like this complicated. Just say you're not into him, or don't get on the internet and pretend like you're saying something fucking deep or something when all you're saying is like, I don't like him. Because like, that's okay. You don't have to like him, but why not just say, or advocate for dinner or something, right? Chet says, what if she means that she isn't into people who go to cafe? Well, then say, well, that's fine. But then say that. Say that in the video and make it clear. But I know she didn't expect this video to go viral. And we'll watch her other videos. But it's like, I think, but also that's so weird. What do you mean you don't like people who go to cafes? Like, what does that even mean? Half my dates with my husband are literally at cafes. Half the time, she's literally taking me to a cafe. That's where we go for our dates. Like, maybe not dinner dates, but like when we're in town and we're walking around Croatia, we stop at a cafe. That's like our cute little date spots. That's what we do. So it's just weird to me to be like, I don't do cafes. What do you mean you don't do cafes? Cafes are fire, bro. Especially like, they might not have full ass meals, but like even some variations of cafes have desserts, like cakes. You know what I mean? I don't know. But let's keep watching other TikToks to talk about it because I think it's kind of important. And again, I maybe have just been so lucky that half the cool experiences I've had on dates happened at places that you would call a coffee shop or places you would call like a cafe. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing interchangeably to me. Chess says, of all the things to be petty and shallow about, not liking people go to cafes, what does that have to do with love? Yeah, and if she hates coffee that much, I would say, oh, I really don't like coffee. Could we maybe find an alternative? Because I don't drink, as an example. So if somebody asked me to a bar, I'd be like, you know what? I'm not much of a bar girly, but is there another option? Are you kind of a bar person, or is that just like your intuition? Like, is that your reflex to assume bar? Because maybe this person doesn't even like a bar. Maybe they just feel like they have to ask you out at a bar because that's what people do. But like, I don't even like a bar like that. Like, my partner before meeting me was much more of a bar goer with his friends. But then once he met me, he's like, oh, cool, I'm done with my bar stage. Because I was like, yeah, like sometimes you just go to bars because that's where people are at. Like when his friends are in town and we get together, we often go to like a little bar, but Croatian bars feel like coffee shops with alcohol. They do not feel like American bars. I have yet to go to a bar here in Croatia that feels anything like an American bar. It just feels like literally a coffee shop, except you order alcohol and you can order coffee technically. So it's kind of funny. Okay, now, let's do this. Okay, so that's her initial video. Before we go to Shira, let's go to her videos because she was really going off in the replies and talking to people. And I just want you to see her energy, right? She thinks she's better because she's light skinned. Okay, that's crazy. Chad says, never been a struggle. I'm lighter and I'm a hella big and she's got to take what she can get and that's all. That's crazy. And I know I'm not black, so I'm not trying to speak from that perspective, but as a female presenting person, that is crazy comment sections. People are really coming for her over coffee and I feel like that's too much. Like, people are saying she's entitled. Like, she's not pretty enough to be picky. And I'm saying that's bullshit because it's not about being pretty enough. It's about compatibility. So also I want to make sure that we are not engaging in conversation around shaming this woman because she said no to a coffee date. I do not want to shame this woman for saying no to a coffee date, but I think that is crazy that that's the reaction from some people.
Never been a struggle. I'm lighter. I'm not hella big. She got to take what she can get. That's it. That's all. This is an example of a mediocre looking light skinned woman who thinks that she looks better than you just because she's light skinned, when the reality is she's not a looker. Number two.
Okay, first of all, I don't appreciate this engagement in pettiness. So honestly, I'll be real. I think I just don't like this energy. Why are you putting this woman up? Like, why are you engaging in the same activity? And it's because you feel entitled to. Honestly, I'll be for real. I just think like my values say these people have values that are like really petty. And then it makes me wonder if the coffee date rejection was also petty. Because like, why are you being ugly back? If people are being ugly to you, why are you being ugly back? And I'm not saying I've never been ugly back. Brittany is not trying to be like, I'm perfect. I've never been petty. I love petty. It's my favorite color. I just try not to do it. Okay? Chet says, you get the same energy you give though? No, that is an unhealed statement. You get the same energy you give is an unhealed statement. And I'm saying we're trying to do something different here. We're trying to say philosophy through pop culture. What if we didn't though? What if we didn't give this same energy back unless it was absolutely necessary? What if we, hear me out, took the higher road? What if we use this as an opportunity to heal communities instead of divide communities? Because initially they're dividing a community, right? They're insulting her. By her insulting back and then using photos and saying she's not a looker, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, why are we doing that? How is that helpful? How is that not spinning the narrative that men and other misogynists can use to come in and be like, yeah, fuck that bitch? Do you know what I'm saying? That's the part that I don't like. Is like, look, every time we tear down other women because they've torn us down, we're just playing into the narrative that these men say, yeah, she's ugly. It's like, no, you can't. No. Like, okay, no.
I'm not hella big. Girl, yes, you are. I don't know who in your life is lying to you and not telling you the truth, but yes, you are. You are big. And low-key, I would make the argument that we probably share a similar size. So the land of delusion that you live in is astounding. She got to take what she can get. That's it. That's all. First, you were saying that I was lying and that nobody asked me. And now you're saying that I got to take what I can get. So which is it? Also, question, why do you think I need to take what I can get when what I can get also includes what I can give me? I realized through this whole situation, men and women are so uncomfortable when a woman actually chooses herself. A man asked, I said no, and then I continued on about my day. And because I continued on about my day and I still had a good time enjoying my time by myself, y'all are up in arms. And you are different up in arms because your level of delusion should really be studied in that book for mental health. Because what is this?
I think there is something to be said, again, not taking sides, but just observing it. Right? We're just observing it. So she didn't just go about her day. She posted a TikTok. And she made people who like coffee dates slightly feel bad about themselves because she insulted the choice. She didn't just go about her day. She made a statement in the courtyard of opinions and everybody had a statement back. So again, I think the illusion of I posted on a public forum and then was mad I got feedback is so interesting. Again, no judgment because we're all content creators here, but like, did you not think you making a definitive statement and acting better than everybody else by saying no to a coffee date wasn't going to make people feel upset? Because that's the impression. Like that's the implication of your language use. And listen, as an autistic girly, not myself, as an autistic girly, I'm just telling you right now, I feel like, how am I better at social scripts than some people who don't understand? Like, did you think that video was going to go over well? Because when you say, like, I'm not going to judge the way you date, don't come for the way that I date, it's never a coffee date for me. What do you mean never a coffee date? Never a coffee date? You're never going. That's like saying I'm never going on a walking date. Oh, I'm never going to the beach and holding hands. Like, what are you talking about? When you make definitive statements, people are going to assume you mean definitively, right? Chet says, I think they don't know what they're signaling. Yeah, I think they obviously don't understand that you're not just saying, hey, oh my God, I really appreciate that he asked me out on a coffee date. I'm just not a coffee girly, but you know what I mean? I hope he finds the love of his life. He said, she didn't say that. She didn't say, oh my God, I'm so like excited. Like, I'm so happy that like you know what you like, but it's just not for me. She didn't say it in that way. She was insulting. She was meaning to be insulted. She was talking down, which is fine. She's allowed to talk down to people and have her preferences. But I'm just saying, like, why are we pretending like that wasn't the judgment? Like, again, if we're going to judge. Like I say, I love judging. And I love saying, like, yeah, ain't no way I'm doing that. Ain't no way I am doing that. Right? But at the same time, okay. Let me see. Chet says, I don't think so. I think she was just assuming we were all talking about first dates because there's been a convo in the Black community. Oh, wait, who? First date in the Black community. I don't think so. I think she was just assuming we're all talking about first dates. Who? Expand on that. Tell me what I missed. Okay, next video. Okay. So let me see. Man, she really.
You have been in my comments for days now.
Here I am thinking it's going to be a cool experience or an activity for the first time at the Wild Life Safari, an observation musical, stargazing, but no, it was a motherfucking taco swap. What is this?
So I took the liberty of going to your profile, see?
Oh my God, she really goes to everyone's profile.
I saw a cute little human laying in a bed, and I'm wondering, did a coffee date lead to a wife, or did it just lead to a baby?
Okay, whoa, hello. She's funny. She's got like this demeanor.
Yeah, you got that young.
Copyright.
Only one man is using that comment section correctly. He said, yo, I like coffee dates. I see that these women like coffee dates. Let me post my picture and see if I can find my blessing. And to him, I hope you did DM someone. I hope you do find the lady that's for you. All I ask is, can I get invited to the wedding? And please, no coffee. But for real, all the other men, I expect y'all to be in the DMs of the women who said that they would like coffee dates, they would like low risk dates, they would like low commitment dates. Because y'all
See. Low commitment dates. Why do you think coffee dates are low commitment dates as an insult, but dinner isn't a low commitment date? Do you know what I'm saying? Why do you want people to go so big on the first date when you don't even, I don't get it. Like, what is the bubble teaching you about dating? And is it working for you? Because I'm married. So if we want to be sassy back and forth, you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? So, like, again, I don't know what, and it doesn't matter if you're married. What does it matter? Why does my opinion qualify me more because I'm married? Because she did make those questions. She did make a TikTok to a lady, and she said basically, like, are you single? So how's that working? How are the coffee dates working out for you? Yeah, but I'm married and I did, you know, what does it mean? What does it matter? Like, what does it matter? You know, and then I have to assume this is straight people problems, right? Like, coffee is just one of the many options. You know what I mean? It's just one of the many options. It's just like, you know what I mean? Chet says, let's go shopping for a house on the first date. Hey, do I like, you know what I mean? Would I be even open to going like open house hopping for funsies? Yeah. But some people do that. Some guys will scam girls by taking them for open houses. Be like, hey, I'm actually checking out open houses this weekend, and take them to like really nice places when they can't afford it. Right? That was like a meme in a movie. But like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know why you're not acting like you have this standard for dating that isn't about values, but you pretend it's about values. Oh, I don't do low risk dates. I don't do non-committed dates. What are we talking about?
y'all are spending a lot of time arguing with the women who don't do coffee dates, or arguing with the men who see nothing wrong with what I said, when y'all should be in them DMs. Them DMs should be wide open. Y'all should be conversing back and forth. Y'all should be having dates planned like I am. I find it funny. All y'all love coffee dates. All y'all love low risk, low commitment dates, but everybody's still single. And
yeah, but see, she's insulting. And I'm trying to say, I could be petty back and be like, I'm married and we do coffee dates, so. But then she'll say, oh, but your partner's this. Oh, but I don't want your relationship. Oh, but like, Brittany, not everybody wants the partner you have. Okay, girl, I don't care. That's the point. The point is like, it's not about whether or not you're single or married. It's about the bubble and the cultural expectation, and also the whole wholesomeness of it. Right? Chet said, in her defense, based on my experiences as well, people lie and they waste your time. But she's saying, at least I'm going to get a free dinner out of it. And I'm saying, but that makes you unethical. In my bubble, thinking, oh, it was a bad day, but at least I got dinner out of it, is crazy. Because you're also assuming he's going to pay, because that's your binary expectation of gender. Do you know what I'm saying? And I get it. I love a coffee date. It's quick, it's easy. You go in, you get out, it's very fast. Or a sit down dinner date, you know, you can take food to go, you can get in a fight, it can be awkward. But like, there is something to be said about the sort of expectation. Oh, hold on, chat. You did try to answer my question earlier. Let me look this up. Hold on. You said, okay, like this convo has been happening in the Black Twitter and TikTok for years, and it's about first dates, not dates once you are in a relationship. In the Black community, thin, light, skinny women go on $100 dates, dinner dates, and the ones they just want to have sex with, be in a situationship, they do coffee dates. Okay, so this makes sense to me. If you tell me in this bubble, you're saying the Black bubble, and I'm assuming, I don't know if that's obviously not a monolithic experience, I'm assuming, right? That could make sense, where like in this particular bubble, the signal for understanding coffee date versus dinner date, but then you have to understand in my bubble, and again, I don't think this is about people having money or not having money, but in my bubble, you wouldn't say no to a cafe date or a coffee date because you'd go to an iconic spot in the town to get a cool coffee date and get good food at like a local mom and pop shop, and then that would be a signal of wholesomeness, right? So I assume we're talking about a specific bubble with a specific language expectation, which absolutely could make sense. If I was in the bubble and that's what a coffee date meant, then obviously I wouldn't go on a coffee date. In the same way, in my bubble, if you go on an expensive date, it means you're putting out. I wouldn't go on an expensive date. Because like I would only go on it if I thought that person authentically respected my consent and didn't assume we'd be getting naked. Right? So then I could understand that. But see how the bubble differences create a language barrier, and then it creates a language difference? Because in Brittany's bubble, separate from these two bubbles, because I moved out of that bubble I grew up in, where going on an expensive date meant you had to put out, I left that bubble. And then I went into a purely informed consent bubble, which meant we as equal participants negotiated and came to a conclusion about the date we were going on, how much money we were spending, and like who was paying what, if anybody was paying anything. You know what I'm saying? So then what I want to do is pull you guys out of that opportunity, or that limited perception of opportunity, and give you another option, which is like, what if, hear me out, you are equal participants in the relationship and you get to decide together how you want the night to play out. So one person doesn't have to, put on this perfect, amazing date, and the other person doesn't have to worry about like what's going to happen next. It's like, I don't want more anxiety going into my date. I just want us to both be like, hey, what are you into? And then be honest, be like, you know what? I'm not very into going to the movie theater just because like, I don't have anything I want to see right now. But I'm happy to do it if you think that's like what would be fun. Or like, do you want to do something else? Maybe it's like about being a participant in the thing. Like, you're not a kid and your dad isn't planning a dad-daughter hangout for you. Like, talk to your adult partner, your adult possible first date, and have a conversation, you know what I mean, about what the expectation is. Like, what do we want to do together? You know? Hold on, let's see. Let me see. Chat says, hold on. Let me see. I feel like you guys have been commenting and I'm missing a lot of opportunities here. Let me see. Blah, blah, blah. I think the idea is that the more effort you put into the first date, the more the person likes you. Oh, we're going to get into that in a second. I have so many TikToks to show you. Man, you guys are talking a lot. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see. Chat says, but it's different when you're married, though. If I'm meeting someone new, I really don't want to spend hours in a cafe with someone I just met. I don't know. My first dates always last like 6 to 10 hours. I think every first date I've ever gone on is a minimum of 2 hours and up to like 8 hours. But I'm a talker, I'm a philosophy girly, and I'm smart. If I'm vibing with people, there is never an end to conversation. My first date with my partner took 8 hours. You know? So I don't know. I have a lot to say. You know what I mean? But I also like, the point of dating for me is to get to know that person, and that person has a whole life they've had before you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get it if you're tired. I get if you're tired and you want to go home or you don't want to have the spoons, but I feel like a good first date for Brittany just means that like it's going to go forever. And the only reason we have to stop the date is because we're tired. And at least when I talk to my girlfriends, the dates that go well for them are the ones where they're like, man, I don't want to end the date, but I'm tired. Those are always the best dates because that means you have like rapport. But again, like no judgment. If you're physically tired, if you're mentally tired, you're just exhausted. You know what I mean? I get it. But yeah, everyone has like a different relationship with like how they're going to react to this. Okay. Like no judgment. No judgment. Okay. Now a few more videos from her and we're going to move on.
How has coffee dates worked out for you? I noticed you make a lot of content around being single. So I'm just curious, how has coffee dates or really any date worked out for you?
You know what I mean? Like her reaction is, I think she's trying to go viral a little bit. If I'm going to be honest, now I'm wondering if she did this on purpose to rage bait people. Because it might feel like she's standing up for herself, but now I just feel like, I don't know if that's true.
Wait, are you?
So let's see. Any woman who is this crazy to say no to a coffee date, your standards are way out there. You will be single for a while. Feminism has these women goofy. Okay, that's a crazy comment. Like that's a crazy comment, right?
Saying that coffee dates are high standards? Or are you saying that you don't find me attractive enough, therefore I shouldn't have any standards?
Like this, but is it a standard to say no coffee date? Like, I don't know if I believe in that narrative. Could it be true that not going on a coffee date is a standard? I don't know if I agree with that. To me, standards reflect values. What is the value around getting coffee? What is the value around eating a sandwich with somebody? Like, I disagree with the people attacking her because I am a progressive, obviously, but I don't understand the narrative that like, oh, I have standards, I don't do coffee dates. What's the standard? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the standard? What is it based on? Standards are based off of an expectation of behavior. What is the standard based off of? You know? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, now, you guys know, I want to talk about this in a very serious way. You know Sprinkle Sprinkle, Sheer 7? Okay, Sheer 7. Okay, Chet says coffee to her signals situationship, no commitment. That's fine, but that's not like a universal experience. So I just want us to remember that. So I wonder, like, if she knows she has an opportunity to do that, to have a different relationship with self is all. Maybe we all do. Like, if that's your bubble, get out. This is Sheer 7 for people who don't know. Sheer has 3 videos I'm going to show you because I've been thinking about this a lot. There is a bubble where, like, look, women uphold the patriarchy. Okay, if you do not deconstruct your gender, if you do not deconstruct your relationship with men and the idea of what it means to be a man, we have to understand that we are participants in upholding systems that oppress us, right? But Shira has these 3 videos, 2 about coffee dates and 1 about the patriarchy that I think are really interesting. And I think Shira 7 has probably saved a lot of women and destroyed a lot of women's lives at the same time. Because she runs with narratives that basically say little boys are always going to grow up to be horrible men. And I don't believe that narrative because I don't think that that's where the data or the truth lies when we're deconstructing. But I think what's interesting is that people find empowerment in her work because they're so toxic. They're in such a fucked up bubble and like such a fucked up narrative that to them, liberation is Shira 7. And to me, regression is Shira 7. Because Shira, once again, basically tells you like all men cheat. Anyone who believes all men cheat, there's like a problem with that, right? Chess says, Brit, don't you think that being a progressive woman makes it easier for men to exploit you? No. No. What are you talking about? Traditionally, men have exploited conservative women over thousands of years. The women who have been exploited all of this time have been all women. First of all women are exploited by the patriarchy and men. But traditionally, the women who have rebelled, yes, they get punished harsher, but most women uphold the patriarchy by adhering to conservative standards. So I don't know what you're saying by that. You can expand upon it if you want. Here's Shira.
Okay, so this one lady, I think she told her story a couple of years ago in the comments. And when I was heavily telling people not to go on coffee dates, it was like a big thing. And I told her, I said, girl, next time somebody invites you on a coffee date, show up late with another man. And then she's like, okay. And so she came back into the comments and she said, girl, I did what you said, except I met the man for the coffee date. And the next date picked me up from the coffee shop and we went out right in front of the coffee date's face. When she showed up, he was like, why are you so dressed up? It's just coffee. She had on a dress and heels and her hair and makeup were done. And she sat down and had her little bean juice and talked with the coffee dude. And he said, wow, you're beautiful. Why are you so dressed up? It's just coffee. And then lo and behold, her next date came to pick her up from the coffee. And he saw, and she was like, thanks for the coffee, friend, and left. I was like, girl, for real, you did that? Oh my gosh. I love it. That's so diabolical. If all you can afford is coffee, you don't need to be dating. If you don't want to sit and risk losing a few dollars on dinner because you don't want to sit and get to know a woman, then stop dating online.
Okay, so yeah, like everyone has a different set of values, but I think the dilemma is she's saying if all you can afford is coffee, don't go on a date. I agree. But if you are realistic with dinner dates, most people can't afford going out right now with the prices that they are. Like, I'm married, we make a pretty damn good income, and we can't afford to go out more than once a month because it's not in the budget. Because we're not millionaires. You know what I mean? Like, we budgeted in. We can't justify going out. We will eventually be able to once we get to the next set of our goals here. But that's not the point. The point is like, yeah, like, who has $100 to budget in once a week for a date or even twice a month? Like, that's basically you're on rotation, a $200 bill every month. That's just not financially making sense because I'm assuming in her bubble the men are paying. That's why I don't believe in this idea of like who pays and who doesn't pay. So it's not realistic. It's just unfair. And it doesn't make sense, right? So I think if you're in a bubble and you're having a relationship with money, finances, where you're at, are you 19 or 37? All of these things matter. But if all you can afford is a coffee date, yeah, you're probably not ready to like have a relationship. But if, it's also not unrealistic for you to not want to go on multiple $100 dates multiple times a month. Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes it now. How about this? I went on a date one time with a guy and he invited me to his house and we made dinner together. It was a really nice date. We were not compatible. We did not pursue the relationship, but it was a nice date. I'm assuming that's not the same for this bubble, right? They don't want to cook dinner. They want to go out to dinner. So go out to sushi, bro. Do you know what I mean? Just as you're not looking for a real partner, you're looking for an income level up. Yeah, that's the problem. So Shira, she's the kind of girl that like when people ask like, has your husband ever cheated on you? She goes, not financially. That's all that matters. As long as I get my money, I don't care. And she has daughters. This is Shira's written books. Shira tells this story where she was at a makeup store and the girl working at the makeup store just hated her. You could tell. And she was like, you're too beautiful to be working here. I want you to find a rich husband so you can be me. So you can be the girl who's shopping at 12 o'clock and buying all this money, off a man's dollar. She comes from the bubble where like his money is our money and my money is my money. And so that's the thing is like Shira is, she was also in a cheating. That's how she got with her partner. He was married. They cheated. Shira is willing to cheat to get what she wants. She's also doesn't care. She has no values in terms of that regard. Her value is teaching women how to live off men's money. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, okay, but like, how does this not uplift the patriarchy? But then I saw this video. This is a crazy video from Shira. Look at this.
No.
Look at this.
You said, am I a Christian? No. Sorry. Not everybody has the same religion. Okay. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I don't even think Jesus was a Christian. So we have that in common. What religion do I have? The women are goddesses. That's the religion if I have to create one or acknowledge one, the one that acknowledges women as goddesses. No patriarchal religion. Sorry. Anyway.
Listen to her. She's saying no patriarchal religion. It's like Shira hates men and the patriarchy so much, but then plays right into their hands. Does she not get it? Like, is she genuine? I know she's not stupid. So then what is she doing? And this is what I always wonder. Are you being malicious? Or are you like, what are you doing? Because you are teaching women to play right into the patriarchy. While you're talking, it's like she wants to scam the patriarchy by playing into the patriarchy. This is like the people who are like, why can't there be ethical billionaires? Because you don't understand what it means to be a billionaire. Yeah, Chad says she's making the patriarchy work for her. That's what she's doing. You know? Yeah. Chad says, what do you mean? What I got from that is that Shira is not religious. But Shira said, I am not religious because, and she goes, I definitely wouldn't be a part of a religion that's patriarchal. She's talking shit on the patriarchy. But how do you talk shit on the patriarchy while also playing into the patriarchy? In a real way, like her whole brand, all of her books, all of her narratives. So this is what I think is happening. She thinks men are objects to bankroll her life. Okay, fine. Super, unethical. Yeah, her religion is capitalism. I think she's a capitalist. That's why we don't vibe. Like, she is all about money. All that matters to Shira is freedom and money. And it has to come basically at the expense of the man. But I'm not going to sit here and make a stream of defending men, because the men who are willing to date Shira are also pieces of shit, right? Like, think about it. The same men that are attracted to people like Shira, you're also a piece of shit because she's playing into your fantasy that you're the big, strong man who pays bills. So the same men that want to buy these women everything are the same men who uphold the patriarchal standard that I want to dismantle. Okay? So again, I don't agree with this. Now, here's one last video about her talking about coffee dates.
Take you out on coffee dates first before they invest in you. Real dates. They say rich men take you out on coffee dates first before they invest in you. Real dates. That's only if you ugly. Sprinkle. That's only if you mediocre or ugly. When you out of their league, they're not taking you on a coffee date, baby. They show not because they want to show you off. If you're cute, they're not taking you on a coffee date. They're going to take you right to the nice place so they can show you off. If you ugly or mediocre, they taking you for coffee. Then you ain't ready to be seen out yet. Okay? They don't like you that much. Any man that takes you on a coffee date, it's not a test, baby. You're not worth being seen on their arm in public. Coffee places are dark, very small. The chances of people not going through the drive-thru versus going in is low. They don't want to see you. They don't even want to talk to you for over 20.
Okay, so I just want to say this out loud. Rich men will never date you. You don't have good families. You do not have connections. Rich men will not date you. They will not bring you home to their mothers. Who are you? What's your standard? Who's your family? What's your education? Like, real rich men are not dating you. And like, generally speaking. And when I think of rich men, I think with men with family connections. I'm not thinking about men who were lucky enough to get rich temporarily before they lose it. There was this episode of, it was like a Jubilee episode of some kind or something like that. It might not have been Jubilee, but Jubilee-esque. And the men were separated with rich men and poor men. And one of the men on the poor side was like, I would have been here. If you guys had done this interview a year ago, I would have been on this side. No, rich men aren't rich temporarily. Real rich men aren't rich temporarily. They're rich for their lifetime. When I say a rich man, I assume you mean actual wealth. You hitting the lottery big and losing it 10 years later, you're not rich. You just had money for a second. That's it. So real rich men with real wealth are not dating nobodies. You have to be somebody. That's how wealthy people maintain wealth. So it's like, which is, by the way, a horror nightmare to me. Because I'm not playing those social games, girl. I'm autistic as it is. But I'm not playing those social games. You know what I mean? Crazy Rich Asians and all these shows you watch, that would never happen. No one's going to come see you working at Walmart and pluck you out of the produce section and be like, that's not going to happen. Okay? And even if you were the 1 in a million where that happens, girl, what are you doing? That doesn't even make sense to hold on to that narrative. Chad says the rich men she's getting are guys who make like $150K going into debt to try to keep her appeased. Yeah, like, what does rich even mean to these people? I don't even know what you mean by rich. Because to me, like, unless he's good with his money and there's a longevity to it, do you know what I mean? I don't get it. Chad says Britt hasn't been to Atlanta or Houston. Excuse me, I definitely have. On my road trips, that's it though. I didn't really socialize. I only have been on my road trips. All I'm trying to say is like, for me, like wealth is wealth is wealth. And having money, like, again, if you make $250 a year as a doctor, I don't think you're rich. Do you know what I mean? Like, no offense, but making $300,000 a year is not rich. It's just, it's like upper middle class. You're upper middle class. You live in a suburb. Do you know what I mean? Chaz said I've been approached by a lot of mainly rappers. Yeah, but rappers aren't rich. They're fake rich. Everybody knows that. Most of them are literally fake rich. Do you know what I mean? Like most of these people are not going to have money in the future. That's the problem, is like, to me, I'm not interested in your temporary wealth, your temporary rich. Like, yeah, new money is nothing. Chaz says rappers are new money. New money is not rich. New money is you're lucky to have it temporarily, but most of them are in debt. Most of them are overspending. Most of them do not know how to keep their money, not just like new money in general. Do you know what I mean? Like new money in general. So again, for me, are we dating for a paycheck? Are we dating for companionship? Are we dating for longevity? Or are we dating for something else? And so again, you have to make that decision, okay? You have to make the decision of what you want. But I do not want a person who is so focused on money, they're not focused on values. I just care about values. I don't care about your money. Money is necessary, but it isn't the thing. It isn't the main thing. The main thing is values, okay? So again, when we're having these conversations, we have to remember, like, there is something to be said about, like, why do you even want companionship? Because if you're a woman who tells me, oh, I want a rich man, you're gross to me. I think you are shallow. That's like a man saying, I want a woman who has a kid and springs back 3 months later. Like, you are the same kind of person to me. Or, oh, I want a girl who, like, is always skinny. Like, what are we talking about here? What are you talking about? You know, my latest podcast is about this. I'll just say it here again. You are allowed to actually be with a good person. You are allowed to be a good person. You are allowed to actually fall in love. Because I think a lot of you don't know you can be a good person and date a good person. So you decide to be a bad person who dates other bad people. I'm just heal your childhood trauma and actually realize you're allowed to be in love with a good person. Okay? But if you really don't understand that you are a bad person, if you are shallowly dating other human beings and you're not understanding that you are making like your life harder than it needs to be and you're being unkind, it is what it is. Everyone's in a position. Okay? But I cannot sit here and like not roll my eyes at the fact that people are sitting here making so much money off your loneliness. Okay? By promising you that you'll be less lonely in a marriage where a man is only a paycheck to you. You are not going to feel less lonely in that marriage unless you are literally a shallow fucking bitch. You are going to feel very lonely if all that man ever does is pay your bills. And same with those men. You are going to feel very fucking lonely if all that woman ever does is, you know, be submissive to you and not talk and not have an opinion and not, you have to be a team. You have to be a team. Okay? All right, next video.
About this discourse about the coffee date is a lot of women are now having to reconcile with the fact that they should have said no. That's where the animosity is coming from. Women are seeing a woman who is saying no, and they are having to reconcile with the fact that they didn't. They settled. And if they settled in, why the fuck shouldn't she have to? May I suggest reconciling with that in therapy? Here is a raw and uncomfortable truth for a lot of women. You are socialized very deeply into saying yes to men. Yes to their attention. Yes to their egos. Yes to their authority. And the very act of another woman saying no feels like a threat to you. Not because she's wrong, but because she's free. And
okay, pause. Obviously, when we deconstruct the patriarchy and we take it apart and we realize, oh yeah, it's not good for women. Obviously, I want you to say no to dates, but I think it's bullshit to say that a coffee date is a standard. That's the problem. This isn't about a coffee date. Like the way that you're acting like coffee dates are like, you don't have to say no to a coffee date. A coffee date is a perfectly good date. But the fact that their assumption is like your standard is low because you're saying yes to a coffee date. What does this have to do with a coffee date? That's like saying yes to a man who wears nail polish is crazy. It's like, what does the nail polish have to do with anything? What is the nail polish? Oh, I would never date a man who wears makeup. What does that have to do with anything? I mean, you can decide that it's not your thing, but also what does that have to do with anything? Well, you should have said no to the man who wears makeup. What does this have to do with anything?
Freedom, when you yourself don't have it, looks like betrayal. You feel betrayed because while you to some extent probably do want liberation for all women, right now you don't have it. And seeing women with it feels like a betrayal because
in Seattle, which was famous for coffee and cafe shops, there were specifically amazing cafes where people would wait 2 hours in line just to get the pastries there because it was that fucking good. And yeah, I love those kinds of fucking dates. Let's sit in line and wait for an amazing croissant to have an experience that people travel into town to get. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are you saying that isn't a good date? Because to me, that's vibes, bro. Like, it might not be vibes for you, but there's nothing unethical. There's no standard to saying, no, I'm not going to do that. But do you know what I'm saying? There's no standard. I wouldn't look at somebody else and say, I can't believe you settled for that date. What do you mean? That sounds like a nice time. That's like saying museums aren't a date. Yes, they are. That's like saying walking through Central Park isn't a date. Yes, it is. Like, you don't have to like it. You can have a date, but it's not a standard you can judge. You know what I mean? That's not a standard you're allowed to judge. I mean, you're allowed to judge anything. I judge, like I said, I judge all these people, you know. Chad says, do you think there's a healthy way to have a relationship like where one partner works and pays the bills and the other spends more free time relaxing? No. When you say spends more free time relaxing, what does that even mean when you're running a household? There is no time to relax when you're running a household, especially if you're disabled or something else. There is an appropriate amount of relaxing, but like, it's not about one-to-one. Honestly, like watching all the things my partner does in this household, like this is why I think it's interesting. Like depending on your skill set and how meticulous you are, like things take time. So like, yeah, if I'm married to somebody and I'm paying the bills and they relax at the expense of the household, that's bullshit. But if they relax because they got everything done, great. The same way I'm going to relax when I got everything done I have to do. Like there's nothing, I never want to punish partners for relaxing, but there's no reality in which it makes sense to me to have a partner who wants to be like a live-in girlfriend who does nothing. As an example, we covered the story years ago on the channel of a guy who said, last minute before we get married, we're literally coming to the wedding day. My girl wants to quit her job and be a stay-at-home girlfriend and work on her crafts and wants me to hire a house cleaner to clean. No, that's not a team effort. It has to be for the team. You know, it has to be about the team effort. What are we doing as a team? People who are in love, people who are good people who love each other, people who want to dignify each other as a consciousness. Guys, these hard and fast rules don't need to apply to your relationship. Your relationship gets to be exactly what you want it to be with your partner. You do not have to listen to these. Like anything anyone says, myself included. My relationship doesn't have to be your relationship. As long as you're healthy and joyful and consenting, I'm good. But really, are you healthy and consenting? Because if you're sitting here, Shira 7, saying all men cheat, that's not true. That's not even a fact. That is literally not even a fact. Shira 7 was like, little girls think men don't cheat, but grown women know better. That isn't a fact. That's just you telling on yourself. I'm sorry, your dating pool sucks. That's your dating pool. That's literally, you're just telling me who you date. Not all men suck. Not all people born men suck, like cheat. Not all people assigned male at birth cheat. That narrative is just that's so unreasonable. It just doesn't even make any sense to say like half of the planet, all of them, every single one, like I'm too autistic to be like all men cheat. That's crazy, right? But that narrative is something people really believe. All women lie, all women do this, it literally doesn't work that way. And once you realize it doesn't work that way, not only can we stop it from happening again when we raise our kids better, but two, you're not going to break any generational curses if you think all your kids are cursed forever. Break it. Break that generational trauma and raise your kids better. You act like these men weren't little boys at some point who were raised by bad parents. You act like that's the problem. 90% of parents suck. And so we're living in a world where you all think you had great mothers and you didn't, or great fathers and you didn't. You had good enough because you're here and you're functioning. But our parents sucked. And because our parents sucked, yes, like people cheat. Yes, people are unethical, but it certainly isn't going to help the narrative that men are allowed to cheat as long as they pay my bills, right? If you're not holding your man to a higher standard, if you're not dating people who have that standard already and didn't need you to even hold them to it, let's rephrase that, then of course you're going to end up with what you end up with. You are literally signing up to be cheated on. It just doesn't make any sense to me, right? You get to decide what you expect out of your relationships. And it's better. That's why I say, like, better to be single and chilling than to settle for a relationship. So she says you're settling in your relationships. And I think you're settling in yours if you're only dating a man because he pays your bills. If you're only dating a man because he pays your bills, you're settling. If you're only dating a man who pays your bills, but he cheats, you're settling. But they think saying yes to a coffee date is settling. Only if it is. For me, it wouldn't be settling. It would be nice. It'd be a nice afternoon.
Misery requires company. Company maintains misery. Without it, you can't sustain. You would absolutely crumble. Women are rewarded for compliance and punished for non-compliance. And that includes women punishing other women. Women work just as hard for the patriarchy as men do. And over time, our conditioning to say yes to men sort of calcifies into law. To be safe, to be loved, to be accepted, I must say yes. So what happens when a woman shows up in defiance?
Good point, Chaz, is we have to return to the idea that the effort is measured by money to some people. Very capitalistic, right? Your worth as a human is connected to your income. Bullshit. That's capitalism, baby. That's capitalism. Yeah, if you think someone's worth is connected to how much money they make or how many bodies they have, that is bullshit. That is patriarchy. That is gross. And if you're those people, yeah, I think you're unethical. I think you're making the world a worse place by assuming people's literal worth comes from their bank account or literal worth comes from how many bodies they have instead of the why. The why is where we get judgment for worth, but not literally like, this doesn't tell me enough about you yet. I don't have enough information.
Of that law. She sets a boundary. When she declines attention, when she doesn't soften her nose with a smile and with an apology. Seeing a woman say no without guilt, and a woman who is perceived as not being attractive at that, it can ignite an internal storm within both women and men. Specifically women who have spent years complying to men, shrinking themselves for the sake of peace. Coffee Lady didn't do anything wrong. She did everything right, as a matter of fact. But she is revealing how much women have had to bend and break themselves to say yes to men. It's so much easier, right, to confront the woman who says no than to confront the system who makes our yeses mandatory. And then, when being reminded of the ways in which we are harmful to women, in a society that is already astronomically harmful to women, a lot of women turn on their defense mechanism. In my recent conflict with a woman on here, I asked her plainly, what about this woman suggests to you that she needs to be grateful for any date that she gets? And I was met with, well, you need to be grateful too. That's resentment.
Yeah, so what's happening is she posted a coffee date video that I disagree with the judgment, and then it brought out the worst people. So here's the dilemma, okay? Here's what the dilemma is. These people aren't talking to progressives. They're talking to conservatives. So coffee date exists here. Here is the judgment. Okay, so she made a judgment. And then out came the conservatives who were like, blah, 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 blah. And then here are the progressives. Oh, no. Here is me. I'm the progressive. And I'm saying don't settle for this narrative, this middle one, that coffee dates are bad. And don't settle for the conservatives. Get more progressive, right? Like, that's the problem. It's like, yeah, most of the people who are harassing these women are bullshit, anti-feminist, anti-progressive, probably homophobe, transphobic people. They're probably fucking misogynists. They sound like it for sure. The way they're insulting these women's looks, going for their bodies, which, by the way, is why Coffee Date Lady isn't exempt from going after a woman's body. Like, you are not exempt or better than these men if you insult women by going after their bodies. So, like, again, like, you're all acting like you're better than the other, but you're also stuck in a narrative that I hope you break out of, right? Like, this narrative isn't helpful for anybody. Chat says, Britt, why do we think women have sought reparations for bad relationships instead of just having higher standards for a partner on a mental and emotional level? You're only as good as your tools, right? And a lot of people just don't have good tools. A lot of people do not have a lot of, they just don't even know their options. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to say like, hey girls, there's like a third option. There's actually like thousands of other options, but like, I just want you to know there's not only these two options. And that's because I have a lot of tools. But if you don't have a lot of tools, yeah, you're going to think this is the whole universe, that this is the only way to react, that feminism is the end goal, even though it's just a reaction to patriarchy. Obviously, it can't be the end goal. Your reaction, if your set of values come from reaction, like being a reactive, that's not the end goal. That's just you and your trauma. What are our values when we're not traumatized? What are our values outside of our trauma? Because it's different when you're in survival value setting because you're traumatized. And there's a difference between setting a standard because your values reflect you and your healthy state of being, right? Okay, let's go on to TikToks, different TikToks.
I feel like I need to weigh in on this coffee shop date conversation, even though it is kind of annoying. If you don't like coffee shops, don't go on a coffee shop date. It's really that simple. I have a friend who started doing coffee shop dates on a first date, like with everyone she meets, not because she doesn't think she's worthy of better, but because her time is valuable and she doesn't want to sit across the table from somebody at dinner for hours who she doesn't want to spend time with.
Okay, I also don't like these narratives of like, my time is important, my time is valuable. Yeah, we're all busy, girl, relax. Like, we're all busy. But being like, my time is valuable, relax. Okay, you're future worm food. You're not that important. The narcissism, the ego, my time is important. Just, girl, don't go on a date then. If it's not a priority, don't make it a priority. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, what is this narrative we're all feeding ourselves through our egos? My time is so important. Girl, you're just going to go home and watch Netflix, which is fine. I would rather go home and watch Netflix than often go on a date. But that doesn't mean because my time is valuable. It's just like how I want to spend my time. You know what I'm saying? The narratives are so funny to me.
She just like already knows them the first like 10 to 20 minutes if she's interested in them for a second date or not. From there,
I mean, that's great. I've definitely like, I usually go on hour-long dates. If I'm dating, generally, a minimum an hour. But I have had some dates I cut short because I was like, we're not vibing. That has happened, okay? But like also, it's not because my time is valuable. It's because like I'm good. Like I'm content. I figured out what I came to find out. Because that's what dating is supposed to be. It's an interview process to figure out compatibility. Some people don't want to think of dating as an interview, but like, I don't know what you think you're applying for here, because it is lifelong companionship and or short-term companionship and or lovership and or all these things. But you know.
she does go on a proper date. So if like they link up, it's a quick little 30 minutes. She doesn't even have to do a lot in terms of like dressing up, in terms of makeup. It's just like a meetup, a network, if you will. And then after that, she's like, oh, okay, cool. And if they're vibing, then they go on subsequent like proper dates. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that, to be honest. Like, I get it. As women, our time is valuable and our effort is valuable. And there have been many a time where I have gotten so dressed up for a date where I literally come home in an hour and I'm like, what a waste of fucking time.
Yeah, but like, see, okay, that's another narrative I want to talk to you guys about, because look at this. Look at this comment in this video. I hear you, but I also feel like my time is valuable and a coffee date is a waste of my time. If I'm going to leave my house, I want the date to feel like it's worth my time and effort. If I'm not putting in effort to get ready for a date, then why should I even go? If I need a vibe check, I can do a quick FaceTime. All that being said, I'm not going to knock any lady who says they prefer coffee dates because everyone has their own preferences. Okay, and then Chet said, so an interview, question mark. And then it's like all these things. But somebody said, I read the comment somewhere. I didn't save it maybe. Well, see, look at this comment. The way the dating market is set up nowadays, women are very picky. You can take a woman out to a 5-star restaurant, be a perfect gentleman, spend $300 on a meal, and she still ghosts and blocks you the next day because something gave her the ick. So as a man, you can't invest too much on the first date. Y'all are gross. All of you are gross. I hate all of you. With the most amount of love I can give humanity, I hate everybody in this bubble. You all deserve to be single. What is this? Like, what is this narrative? That's what dating is, y'all. Dating is to get to know if the person is your person. It shouldn't, they're allowed not to like you for any fucking reason. Your haircut's stupid. They don't like your eyes. Like, they can be as shallow as they want to be. But like, why are you saying, well, if I make this much amount, I saw a girl say, my foundation is $60. I'm not putting on foundation for a coffee date. Then don't. Okay, girls, are you actually, forgive me, are you literally showing up different on a date than you would show up in your real life? See how first dates are a lie? They want first dates to be greater than the life you're promising that person. I like first dates to be realistic. Is this the foundation you wear on a daily? So then just wear foundation like you would, dress the way you would normally for a date. Dress nicely for the place you're going. But like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? I just show up as I am. Pick something in your closet that you would wear and wear it for the occasion you're doing it for. Why are you like, oh, I have to get date ready? You mean you have to look nice and groomed? Do not normally shower and groom yourself? Do you not normally do your hair and wear nice clothes? How are you existing on the daily? Obviously if I don't understand, like, yes, maybe you need to make an extra effort for a date, but that's because of where you're going, not because you're on a date. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't like this narrative where like people only dress nice because they think they're impressing people. You should just be dressing nice. You should just be grooming. You should just be showering. You should just be looking nice. So I don't like this narrative that like, oh, I'm not going on this date and getting ready because like it costs me too much. Well, maybe you're too poor to go on a date apparently. See how that narrative is hurtful? I don't want to believe that you're too poor to go on a date because you can't dress nice. Just go in your best, girl. Or go in whatever you are comfortable in. And also I grew up, or at least I dated in a bubble where like going on going camping is a date, or, you also date people you know already. If it's a first date, do an online date. Get to know that person. Go in public. But if you know these people and they're part of your friend groups, then going on a camping date or going rock climbing or, doing something out of the ordinary is also a part of the date. But also, like, what does it mean to go on a date? It's dependent on you and the people in the date. Okay, here's a little joke I saw that I thought was pretty funny. Here's a joke TikTok.
Just a coffee date.
It says girls getting ready for a coffee date.
Just a coffee date. Ow! Just a coffee date. I'm gonna shave my legs because it's just a coffee date. It's a coffee date.
See this narrative? I'm not even gonna shave my legs. It's just a coffee date. Y'all are putting too much pressure on yourselves. Deconstruct this. Girl, I don't even shave my legs. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Like, shave your legs. You don't have to shave your legs for a date, or you can. But like, if you shaving your leg, I saw this on an episode of Sex and the City. Wait, is this an episode of Sex and the City? What show is this? No, I think this is an episode of How I Met Your Mother. There was a show that I watched where the girl thought she didn't know she was going to get laid that night, so she didn't shave her legs. And then she was like, can you bring me a razor? I'm going to get laid and I need to shave my legs. Maybe it is Sex and the City. But either way, what? Just have sex. You don't have to shave your legs. I don't know if anybody told you this. You don't have to shave your legs to have sex, girls. We evolved to have sex with a bush. Like, the pressure you put on yourselves.
Coffee date. Just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. Just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. Just a coffee date. Not a big deal. It's just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. Just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. It's literally just a coffee date. Where fuck are those jeans? You know what? It's fine. It's just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. Oh, it's just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. But what if it's the love of your life? Nope. It's just a coffee date. Just a little itty bitty coffee date. So I need to clean this because if he comes over after, he's gonna be like, oh my god, Jay, such a mess. It doesn't matter because it's just a coffee date. I'm gonna keep my messy lifestyle, and it's gonna be messy because it's just a coffee date. Oh, there are those jeans. Just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. Oh. It's just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. Fuck, I'm so late. Oh my god, I'm late for just a casual coffee date. Where is this fucking train? I'm late. Did I forget deodorant? It's fine. It's just a coffee date. Is it raining? Oh, my hair. Oh, it's just a coffee date. It's just a coffee date. I love you.
What you think?
Okay. Next video about coffee dates it says POV, the awkward first date at a coffee shop. Now this is what I assume people think of when they think of a coffee date. This is not what I assume as a coffee date. So let me just preface that. Look at this.
Hey, it's great to meet you. Great. So, are you gonna get any coffee?
Did you already? Oh, You already got.
I got some.
I was gonna pay for that.
I'm sorry you weren't here, so I just went ahead and.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, example. A date is something you do together. You wait outside the restaurant or the coffee shop and you go in together. You order together. So the fact that like she went on a date and ordered the coffee before he got there is sort of like, yeah, that's not a date. A date isn't something you do separate. You know, it's a date you do together. So this isn't what I imagine when I think of a coffee date, because I've had coffee dates. They don't go like this. The coffee dates I have is we have an experience together, looking at the menu, reading the menu, talking about our likes and dislikes, right? Chad says people treat dates like job interviews. They are job interviews. Guys, dates are job interviews. You're asking for the job of being my life partner. It is a job. That's what I'm saying. It is a job interview. It's a job interview. It's a group project at the same time. It's a job interview and a group project. Okay, your dog's sniffing each other's butts to see if we want to fuck, if we want to do life together, if we like each other. It's both. It's a group project, but it's also an interview.
Table's a little wobbly. So tell me about yourself. What do you?
I work.
Mm-hmm. I work also. So I work.
You want to be employed.
Yeah.
Wow, you're really getting after that coffee, huh?
Oh, I mean, it's really good. Are you sure you don't want to go get some?
It's gonna go right through you. You one of those people that has a weird laugh?
I mean, I don't think so. No one's ever told me that, but.
Oh, I wasn't insinuating anything.
But do you see how the problem with this isn't the coffee date? It's the incompatibility.
Is it because I laugh really loud?
Maybe. It could be, yeah.
So this is actually a fun little area. When you told me to meet here, I was like, oh.
Yeah. You know what? My grandparents.
No. Chad says I view a relationship as work. Maybe that's why I'm single. A relationship is a connection with another human being on the planet. Do you guys know the difference between people who have pets and people who meet their best friend? Indiana Jones, my cat, is my best friend. She's not just a cat I adopted. We have a soul connection. Do you ever meet people who literally adopt dogs and give them away like it's no big deal? I'm like, you're not having a soul connection. You're not having a soul connection to this animal who is now your roommate. Indiana's our third roommate. She is a whole ass person to us. So she's not just an animal that lives with us. She is an individual consciousness. When you're dating, when you're connecting, when you are making friends, you're not just always, depending on the situation, it's not just a person. You're meeting a whole ass consciousness. Do you know what I'm saying? So it takes effort to bond, but the effort is always worth it with the right people. Friendships are always worth it with the right people. Animals are always worth it with the right animals. Romantic relationships are always worth it. The question is, do you know that it's mostly never going to be worth it? So what you're getting out of it is the opportunity to learn. Guys, we don't get our first job out of high school thinking it's going to be worth it. We look at it as an opportunity to be the first stepping stone towards something. When you go on a first date, it's the opportunity for it to be the stepping stone towards something if it's meant to go in that direction. Not the first job you have isn't your forever job, and the first person you date is probably not your forever person, right? So you have to engage with this from an authentic perspective, starting with you. You can't expect the world to be authentic if you're not. Why are you showing up to a date being shallow and then wondering why your dates are shallow? I don't understand. Do you understand? Do you know? Chess is not to sidetrack, but flying long distance with a cat soon. How did Indiana do on the plane ride? Amazing. I drugged her, to be fair. I got medicine from the vet, and she did 22 hours of travel from America to Croatia, and she did really good. She sat with me. She sat at the bottom of my feet, and I took a travel litter box with me. She didn't use it once, which I'm not sure. I think it was her anxiety, but she did really good. She's a good girl.
Parents actually live a block down the road.
No way.
I was thinking we could go spend some time with them.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Some people in some cultures, you might meet family on a first date because to them it's casual. If you're dating in a small town where everybody knows each other, you'd be like, hey, my parents are having a barbecue tonight. Do you want to go? And I may be the kind of girly that's like, yeah, depending on the context, because every single date I go on is individualized for that person. Guys, I don't date one size fits all. I don't make friends one size fits all. All my friends get individual activities, individual attention, individual everything. All the people I date get individual attention. Nobody gets the same thing. Nobody gets the same, because they're not the same person. I'm not dating the same person. I'm not becoming friends with the same person. Every single one of you is special and unique, and you deserve that attention. You deserve the attention you deserve the acknowledgement that you are an individual consciousness. Okay? Chad says, was it an instant connection with Indiana? I went to 3 shelters in one day. The last shelter visit. I was put in a room with other adults. We sat on the floor. They put Indiana down, who's originally named Confetti. She was a mom cat off the streets. She had gone around, but she's still valuable. Okay. And she had just had a litter of kittens. And they put her down on the floor. And Indiana looked at all of the adults in the room and came and sat right in my lap. And I said, I'll take this one. And I knew because I had seen other cats prior. And I was like, all these cats are cute, but she's not my cat. These are not my cats. This is not my cat. Even my partner now says, you obviously have such a special bond with Indiana. It's true. She is my Pikachu. Okay? She is my Pikachu and I am her Ash. Okay? And I do not take it for granted. Y'all are taking things for granted. And I'm saying it's because you're not with your high compatibility partners. You're not connecting with animals. You're getting them because you think they're cute for Instagram. Stop adopting animals because you think it's cute for Instagram, and stop dating men because they're rich, and stop dating women because you think they're hot. Would you fucking stop being so shallow, please? Thank you.
Well, if you don't mind, I think I'm just gonna use the restroom real fast, so.
Told ya.
Wait, what's so funny?
It's nothing.
Uh-oh.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, it's a little.
Incompatibility, baby. Incompatibility. That's what that joke is. It's not about the fact that you're on a coffee date. You're incompatible. Okay? That's what it is. Next TikTok.
Women talk about how coffee.
The audio is really low here, so just
When
turn it
I
up.
hear women talk about.
No, actually, is it too low? Is her video too low? Because it's like 4 minutes. I don't know if I want to watch all 4 minutes.
About how coffee dates are low effort because the man doesn't know if he wants to, so that's why he's taking you for coffee. I chuckle because he doesn't know you yet.
Okay, it's way too low. I watched this on my phone. On my phone, it's very loud, but here it's not. She basically just summarizes that, you know, the man doesn't know you. He's getting to know you. Why would he go on an automatic coffee date with you? Like, how does that make any sense? But again, I think it's a combination of you together. Why is one man making the decision and why is the woman making the decision? Why aren't you making the decision as a unit? Why isn't so, okay, if I was going on a date with a girl, and I've gone on lots of dates with lots of girls, and she said to me, oh, surprise me with a date, I'd say no. And she'd be like, wait, what? And I'm like, I don't do surprises. That's not who I am. I don't show love that way. I'm not doing surprises. We're literally watching Queer Ultimatum, and AJ is sitting here saying, oh, I'm so romantic. I'm so romantic. You're so romantic, but you won't say yes to marriage? Because again, marrying the wrong person is never good. Okay? So like, again, when you're put in a position, like, yes, don't say yes to dates you don't want to go on. But even more than that, like, explain it. Because maybe the person is following a social script that they feel like you want. Because you have to remember, all of us are raised with social scripts. Our parents and people around us teach us what dating should look like. And so we all need help deconstructing. We all need help being given permission. I went on a date with this guy, this Arab guy. And it matters because I knew he was going to have the intuition to dress really nicely. And I said, hey, bro, don't dress nicely. We're going to an afternoon sushi date. Dress chill. Because, like, I'm not the girly who dates men who wear suits. I'm not interested. Okay? Like, I'm not that girly. My lifestyle doesn't make sense. Like, does my partner have a suit? Do we have nice clothes? Yes. But, like, I don't want to date a guy who wears a suit every day. That's not my lifestyle. Right? Like, it doesn't make sense. So I told him, I was like, don't dress up because I know your intuition is going to be to dress up. He's like, oh, okay. He came to the date dressed nicely, but not dressed up. Dressed nicely, but not dressed up. It's not a special occasion. We're going out to sushi. Relax. Okay, I wore a dress because it's a dress that makes sense to wear to lunch. And we went out for sushi. It was nice, whatever. Okay, not my person, but it was a nice date overall. And I think what that did for him and for me was to, like, everybody breathe. It's a lunch date. It's sushi. Relax. I'm here to get to know you as a person. And yes, I learned after that first date we were not compatible, but it's because we heavily talked about values for hours. We had an hours-long date. And then I was like, okay, this isn't my person. So again, it's like I dress the way I want to dress to meet the occasion. Now, if we went to a restaurant that required us to dress nicer, then we'd both be like, hey, what are you dressing in? Like, what are we going to wear? Like, let's dress nice. What are you going to wear? I'm going to wear this. Make it fun. Make it casual. I get so much anxiety over people just being so awkward because there's like a fake facade to a first date. Like, almost like you're trying to trick each other into saying yes to a second date. You know what I mean? I think first dates are great, opportunities to get someone to say no. You know what I mean? I don't know. The pressure is intense, though.
you shouldn't accept a coffee date, but I'm team coffee date, and here's why. Number one, I feel like a coffee date removes pressure from both parties. I feel less stressed about dressing to the nines and getting all dolled up, and they probably feel less stressed about picking a place and figuring it out, and you can actually focus on just the conversation. Which brings me to my next point is
I think y'all are afraid to talk. I just realized this when she said that. Yeah, I think you guys are bad at talking because you have no thoughts in your head. And that's why people are afraid of coffee dates, because you have nothing to say. I went on a date with this guy, and it's the date that I ended shortly. This man couldn't hold a conversation to save his goddamn life. Handsome as fuck. Could not talk to save his life. No thought in his head, bro. Talking about a himbo. He was a himbo to the T. Peace and love. No, thank you. Peace and love, girl. Do you have a thought in your head? I don't care how pretty you are or how much money you have. If I can't have a conversation with you, what are we doing here?
I don't want to get distracted by this fancy meal, the nice view, the drinks. I want to know who you are to your core, and you can't hide behind a coffee cup. A lot of the argument is that you want to know that they'll treat you well, but I feel like there are so many other things that will tell you that aren't all glitz and glam. And the third reason is coffee dates give you an easy out. If it's not going well, would you look at the time? I gotta go. A sit-down meal, I'm stuck there.
I mean, maybe you're stuck there at a sit-down meal. I'm also okay saying, like, I'd like my food to go now. I'm ending this date, but I'm an aggressive Taurus. You know?
These are all my opinions. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong, but I just want to like talk about the misconceptions I think about coffee dates. The first thing that I want to talk about is how you said it's low effort. To me, a guy planning and telling me where it is and taking time out of their day is effort, no matter what.
Red flag. Not red flag. It's a preference. Like if you want a guy to surprise you and go out of his way and do all this work, you do you, but that sounds exhausting. But also, I date neurodivergent people, generally speaking, or people who are compatible with me, so I don't want them to put their pressure on themselves because I know it's anxiety inducing. But like, you do you. It is effort regardless, but it is also like not the effort I'm looking for. Ooh, I'm not looking for you to be good at planning dates. I'm looking for you to make an effort in the relationship long term. Yeah, it's not the effort I value. Why do you guys value it? I refuse to engage that it's not shallow. Like, dressing nice is an effort I appreciate. Dressing too nice feels like you didn't read the room. You know, dressing nice enough is important. I even had a friend come and meet my family for the first time, and a friend that I had like bragged about, which was like, oh my God, so embarrassing. And they showed up completely ungroomed. And I was like, oh, you look like a mess and you're about to meet my family. Like, what are you doing? They're like, I don't need to impress your family. And I was like, oh. And I found that disrespectful from a friend. I was like, you didn't have to dress fancy, but you didn't even go to the barber before you came. You didn't even try. And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's disrespectful. I think that's disrespectful because I know you have money. I know you have time. You didn't make an effort. So yes, we want people to make effort. The question is, what kind of effort is the appropriate kind? Yeah, if I wanted a date with somebody and they didn't make the effort to shower or brush their teeth, I'd be like, I'm out. You didn't even make the effort. But if they made too much of an effort, like they were kind of feeling skeezy, like they were like, it was too good to be true, then I'd be like, hey, what is this? Why are you being weird? Like, oh, you want to get on my private jet and go flying? Like, let me see your credit card statements. Did you put this on a credit card? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's an expectation here, right? Chat says, Britt, I think because you date in queer spaces, the thing you find odd of all the rules and subtext that is heteronormative dating, it's exhausting and neurotypical dating. Of course. But I don't think queer dating is only for queer people. I don't think neurodivergent dating is just for neurodivergent people. Guys, people are unhappy. We're not the ones suffering in this loneliness, quote, epidemic. If regular ass guys and girls are having problems, I'm just saying like, hey, maybe you could solve it by getting rid of these weird patriarchal standards, right? Remember, we could be saving people's lives. We could be saving people's fucking lives right now because they're still upholding systems that aren't even about them or helping them. Your grandmas and grandpas who all got divorced, okay? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Our circles, our niche communities obviously figured it out. It's not perfect. It's not great. There's definitely like issues, but in terms of consent culture, in terms of informed consent, in terms of like both people are agents, individual agents, like I think this could help a lot of people.
Matter what. I feel like a lot of people think it's low effort or they don't really care because they're not spending a lot of money, which if I were a dude, I wouldn't want to spend a lot of money on a first date either. You don't know this person. A first date is just to get to know them. Personally, I think the only bad first date is like a movie, because what the fuck, that doesn't even make any sense. You don't even get to talk. I think that a sporting event,
unless you like movies, because then you get to talk about the film after. Because what if you're both movie buffs?
coffee, going on a walk, playing pickleball, going out to...
Do you see how it has to be customary to you? What if you're both film nerds and you want to see a movie together? That's a good date. But if you're not a film nerd, maybe movies aren't a great idea. Like, I am not a fan of a movie on the first date unless it's a movie we both really want to see, because I don't go to the movie theaters. Like, I almost never go. I almost literally never go. But if it's like, hey, this anime is in the movie theater or Miyazaki film's in there, do you want to go? Yes. That sounds so fun. Let's go. And then we'll go to dinner after and we'll talk about it. Right? But I'm not a movie girly, but I'm happy to use the movie to have a talking date. I'm happy to use something I'm not normally doing to catalyst to get me into the thing that is a thing I do. Now, if you ask me, do you want to watch a movie at home? I'm also okay with that, but can we also pause and talk about it in between scenes? Like, okay, MasterChef, just as an example, we watched MasterChef Canada as a couple, and each episode is like 50 minutes long, and it probably takes us like 2 hours to get through the episode because we're pausing and we're talking. But I don't talk in movie theaters, right? So if we go to a movie, you better not talk to me during a movie, not even during trailers. Do not talk to me once the trailers start. Once the trailers start, I don't know you. You're mute. Be quiet. If you talk to me during a movie, oh girl, it's over. I'm leaving the date. It's disrespectful. If you pull out your cell phone. I was at a movie once with my siblings. 2 things happened at once. Opening night. Oh, you know what movie it was? It was that movie Us, which is a horror film, which is a suspense film. And I was in the movie theater, like being taken out of the movie. So there was a girl next to me who literally opened up her Instagram app and started watching videos. And I just went like this, guys. I went like this. And I pointed to her phone and I said, turn it off. And she went, and she turned it off. What the fuck? Are you fucking brain damaged? 2 girls behind me during the same movie. Okay? Same girl, 2 different girls behind me talking about men, talking about their dates. Okay, guys? They were on a date. Or not on a date. They were talking about boys. And I went like this. So they're behind me. And I went like this and I was like, be quiet. And they were like, and they left the movie theater, never came back. I will do it every time. Shut the fuck up. Movie tickets are so goddamn expensive. People have to work an hour at their minimum wage job just to go. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. So fucking annoying. Shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch. Anyways, we're all just humans on a planet. I will yell at you. I will fight you in a movie theater. Shut the fuck up. This is why we can't have nice things, because you guys can't keep your goddamn mouths shut. Opening up Instagram? Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Chat says an hour. Somebody hasn't worked lately. Okay, don't be out here judging, bro. Federal minimum wage is $7 still. What are you talking about? In California, movie tickets are $15 to $25. Do you know what I mean? Or if you go to the cheap theater, you might get lucky. You know what I'm trying to say. The point is like, you still got to work to go to the movie theater. Also, I don't go to movie theaters because they are overpriced. $25 for a movie, you're crazy. Go to the cheap theater. In Croatia, movies are not that expensive. So 2 hours, thank you. Well, that's not the point, bro. That's not the point. It depends on the movie theater you're going to. Okay? That's not the point. The point is, whether it's 1 hour or 2, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy is the point, bro. Okay, back to the video.
To eat, grabbing drinks, any of that is good because you're chatting and getting to know one another. I don't care what they spend on me. I don't want them to spend a lot on me. I don't know this person. The second thing you said, and I'm not coming at you, girl, you know I love.
Exactly, chat. Go to $6 Tuesdays. That's what I do. I go to cheap movies if I can. You know what I mean? And then chat says it's the food that's expensive. Buying theater food is crazy. Buying food or drinks at the theater is never done it. My mom's never done it. You always pack a purse. Okay, you put it in your pants if you have to. Okay, never in my life, bro. No way I'm gonna be charged that overpriced price. That's crazy.
Love you. I see all of your comments, but I see this a lot. The bulk dating. I personally want a man who's going on dates, because a man who's not going on dates, number one, they're gonna get attached to you, and that doesn't even mean they like you. they just haven't talked to a girl in months. A man who's actively dating knows what the fuck he wants. Okay, that way when I know if it continues to go, he's been going on dates like
I don't care either way. I don't care if you've been actively dating or not dating. It doesn't matter to me.
I am the one that he wants. And if you don't like coffee or that's not your vibe, then that's one thing. But I also don't think the setting.
Chad said, I'm afraid to tell people off these days. They might end up unaliving you. You got balls. That's true, but I also had my team with me. I had my siblings there. My brother's 6'4". He could have just stood up. And plus, no offense, but like they were really puny, skinny little white lesbian looking girls. I could have taken them. They were really skinny little, I could have taken them in a fight. Could have dragged them by their fucking buzzed head. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry, girl. I pick my battles smartly, okay?
Setting truly matters too much unless it's like way out there. But if a guy asks me to go to like a car show, cool, let's go. We get a chat and I get to see like what he likes. That's fine. You're just getting to know one another. It's a first date. But when you think about it, if you expect a man to take you on a dinner date and he's taking every girl on a dinner date, that's like $40 to $50 every time.
That's crazy though. Why is he spending that much money?
And think for him, like if he goes on this date, doesn't know him, it's bad.
Chatter, you know what? You're not fun. You're bringing down the mood, bro. You said grab a buzz cut, somebody not fighting lately. I'm gonna have to ban you. You're not fun. I want to get your humor, but I don't get it. It's like not fun. We're not being fun. Somebody not fighting lately. Somebody not going to minimum wage lately. You sound like a Debbie Downer. That's what I'm hearing when he talks. He's like, somebody hasn't done this. I don't know. Chad said it was a joke. It wasn't good enough. Banned. It wasn't good enough. You know why? I'm getting an inkling that it's not a joke. I wanted to believe it was a joke, but I'm starting to think it's not. Because I bet they're going to come back and be like, it was a joke, you dumb bitch. You're so moody. Wow, what a bitch. You had to block me. I guarantee you. That's the energy I'm getting from it. Okay? Joke says, no, I'm saying you were joking, Brittany. Oh, yeah, of course. Chad says, I could also sense the party pooper. I could just sense it, girl. I was trying to be nice, but I'm not doing it.
Been dropping $60? Oh my God, I would be pissed. So I would do, it's kind of like, you know, when you go to the interview process and you have like a phone call screening, like that's what a first date is.
Okay, how many of you guys are doing like a screen date before the date? How many of you guys are like doing it? Because like, I'm a millennial, I'm a mid-millennial, so I grew up with all forms of dating, right? Pre-internet, internet, during lockdown, and then I got married 2 years ago. So what are we doing? I think a screen call is good though. I think if you want to be like, hey, can we call each other to see if we vibe first? I think that's good. I think meeting is good. I think some people, it's all about your personality, right? Like it's all about your personality. I think because I live on the internet, I'm good. I feel comfortable getting to know you through a screen as I do in person. But I think like, I think I'm better in person or better in video than I am in pictures. So like, I think dating apps for me, I remember I tried to use them. I tried to use Hinge and I just don't have normal photos of myself. Like most of the photos I have of myself are done for like Instagram. So then when I would post those photos, people were like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, what? They're like, your photos are so nice. What do you do? And I was like, oh, I didn't mean to like make my profile look like I did something. But to other people, it looked like too professional. And I was like, oh. And I didn't post. I posted pictures of me in like clothing. I didn't try to post like bikini photos or something. But I was like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about my job to a complete stranger. Oh, which is interesting. So if you didn't know me through my work, I wouldn't talk about my job initially. I would just say like kind of what I did. But then I would ease them into it because people are really shallow. So they really do think once they hear you're a YouTuber, they think it means something. But then I guess that's a good way to weed out people because if they think it's a big deal that you're a YouTuber, it's like, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore. So I kind of feel like that could make sense. You know what I mean? Okay, next video.
Dates. The type of women. Let's talk about the type of women who accept coffee dates.
Okay, general statement has now been made. Let's talk about women who accept coffee dates. Okay, so now she's making a generalized statement. That's pretty bold. She's generalizing for a whole group of people. Okay.
The type of women who accept coffee dates, number one, they are the type of women who want to be seen as, I'm not like other girls. I'm a cool girl. They're the type of women who, when women are saying, my standards are here. This is what I won't accept. They're the women who will butt in and proudly say, well, I'm okay with it. Well, I'll accept it. They're also the type of women who are like, well, I don't mind if my husband watches porn. I don't care if he goes to the strip club. I don't care if he
Okay, first of all,
checks out other women.
Okay. The kind of women who accept coffee dates are not the kind of girls that say it's okay if men check out other women. Like, this is such a... Okay. So then what I'm thinking is, okay, who's her bubble and who is she around? Because she's obviously not talking about, like, half the planet. Okay, that's fine. Her bubble, her perspective, where she is and who she knows. She probably is describing a real person she knows, right? Because we all are. She's describing a very specific kind of girl that's like, I don't care if my guy watches porn, goes to the strip club and checks out other women. Okay, she's talking about like a pick-me girl. Fine, valid, but also we cannot give dating advice about coffee dates based off of the worst people you know. That's like saying I would never go at a I'm trying to think of an example. I would never go on a date with a girl that wears makeup because she's trying to trick me in regards to what she looks like. It's like, no. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what does a girl wearing makeup have to do with you being tricked? And what does a girl going on a coffee date have to do with being a pick-me? Yes, they can overlap. Girls who wear makeup can also be people who scam you. And girls who take coffee dates can also be girls with low standards. But this isn't they're not the one-to-one. You cannot say all women who wear makeup are tricking you and all women who accept coffee dates are pick-me's. So to say that the type of women who accept coffee dates are this type of woman doesn't make any sense, right?
I check out other women with him. Are you usually okay with men disrespecting them?
Hold on. I got a super chat. Thank you so much. Says, I have no issue with women asking for anything on a date because I can say no. People are too scared to say no because they're scared they won't like them. I think that's great. Thank you for the super chat. I think that's also something that we have to talk about is like, no is a good consent boundary. You should be excited that someone said no, so you know where their boundaries are instead of being upset that people said no. That's like why we talk about rejection. Guys, being rejected is a benefit to both you and them. Being rejected is good. It's like respectful. It's disrespectful, I think, for someone to say yes to you when they know they're not into you, right? So again, we have to talk about the bubble we're in, the expectation. What is the behavior signal? What does it mean? And then understand the difference between like, oh, all people who eat pasta must hate women is not a good generalization. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it feels like when you guys are talking about coffee dates. All people who love coffee dates are this type of woman. Okay, relax. You know? Chet said, honestly, if I asked somebody out on a coffee date and they rejected me because they thought it was low standards, I would be relieved. Yeah. I remember I went on a date with this girl. We were like, hey, what do you want to do? And I said, I know this really cute coffee shop in Seattle. Do you want to go there with me? They have really great food, really great coffee, really great drinks, and a really cute cafe. And she said, yeah. We met at the cafe and we had a really nice date together. And I just remember thinking like, it's a cool setting. I like the crowd of people there. We're vibing. She was my only deaf date. I've only gone on a date with one deaf person and that was her. Really great date. Really cool person. Our lifestyles were so different though. She was like adventurous and mountain climbing and always like somewhere every weekend. I was like, oh, I'm a homebody girl, but like she was so cool. Really interesting experience, right? But I think at the end of the day, the cool thing about the date was that we didn't think any differently of each other because we were going on a coffee date. It just was nice. It was just nice. It was a nice date. And I also just really like the drinks there. It helps that I really like the coffee shop. I never go to a coffee shop I don't like. Like I wouldn't go to a Starbucks for a date because like I don't really like Starbucks like that. You know what I mean? But I would go to a homey coffee shop nearby because it's nice, right? Chad said, have you heard recently that the argument pick me is a slur? I think it started with erudite. Who erudite? I think it's not for various reasons, being it's broader than just some women. It's about group dynamics. Who erudite? Not so erudite? It's because she is a pick-me and she hates that people call her a pick-me. Listen, there's two ways pick-me is used, factually and insultingly. Metafistell's community calls me a pick-me-sha all the time. They're trying to bully me. Erudite's not being bullied. She's being properly categorized. Look, guys, some of you are pick-me's and I'm asking you to deconstruct it. And some of you are being called pick-me's because you're being bullied. Kyla's not being bullied because people are calling her a pick-me. She's literally siding with a predator. She literally sides with the predators every fucking time. Every fucking time she's siding with predator men because she wants to appeal to boy audiences. That is literally the definition of pick-me. Pick-me is throwing the women under the bus in favor of the man's approval. That is literally her whole career on the internet, time and time again. What do these men in her life have to do? Tectone was accused of rape and abuse of his partner. Destiny was accused of recording women without their consent and engaging sexually with a minor. What do these men have to do before she stops picking them? Do you know what I'm saying? Chad said that's like saying Karen is a slur. Yeah, Karen is not a slur. Some people are not Karens who get called Karens, but people are definitionally categorized as Karens appropriately a lot of the time. So what are you doing? Ridiculous. Chat confirmed. Yeah, not so erudite. That's crazy, bro. Wow. That makes me so, girl, every time I think this girl's gonna get out, maybe she doubles down. That's crazy. Okay, finishing this video.
And then trying to reframe it as something that is so funny and so cool and okay because they're in on it too. Secondly, they're the type of women who have lowered or have gotten rid of all their standards to increase their chances of meeting a man.
Okay, so we're not going to finish the whole video because it's 9 minutes. But you see, the standard coffee dates aren't a good standard. What are you talking about? Okay, watch this video though. This one, pay attention. Pay attention because this one I think was one of the more offensive ones in my opinion. But maybe I'm, exaggerating here. Hot take, coffee dates, ice cream dates. Dates are low effort drink dates are low effort ways for men to access a woman's worthiness. Assess a woman's worthiness before committing to spending money on a real date. Listen to this one and try to guess why I have a problem with it.
Or low effort. Okay. So hot take. Coffee dates, ice cream dates, drink dates, etc. are low effort. Okay. I had this man ask me on a date tonight and he said, "Oh, let's go for drinks. I would love to take you out." And I told him respectfully, "No, I only do dinner dates." He was like, "Oh, I don't do dinner dates on the first date." Blocked. I'm not about to play with y'all, okay? These men, as women, we need to stop letting these men get away with low effort dates and literally doing the bare minimum, okay? Because first of all, why are you trying to get me impaired on the first date? Or why are you trying to get impaired around me on the first date? I'm uncomfortable. Absolutely not. Dinner is great. You can have drinks at dinner. That's 100% a non-negotiable for me. As soon as you're saying that you're not taking me to dinner, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not trying to convince you. It's dead. You're blocked. Goodbye. The only time I would slightly understand drinks, like a coffee date, salad date, ice cream date, etc., is if he's like a millionaire, billionaire, okay, trillionaire. Like, unless you're up there. But the men that are doing this are regular men anyways. You get what I'm saying? It's regular men who don't want to spend the money on you, right? They want to feel like you have to convince them on that first date why they should take you out to a dinner, spend $200. Baby, if I take myself out to $200 dates by myself and I treat myself all the time, why would you think you're going to come in and take me to no rangy-dangy ass, like cheap ass type of drink date? No. And I get it. I feel like as women, a lot of us think of short commitment dates such as drinks, coffee, etc. as, a way for you to leave if things are uncomfortable or, like a quick exit, right? However, that's not how men view things. They're not coming from a safety standpoint. They're trying to get you turned and also looking at it financially, like, I'm not going to spend all that money on this girl. Thinking that dinner is that much of an investment is problematic and toxic. I don't deal with it, and I'm not going to argue about it. Blocked. These men are so complacent doing the bare minimum, and if you allow a man to do the bare minimum once, baby, he going to keep doing it. That's what I've learned. That low effort shit is not flying with me at all. But I want to know what y'all think.
Okay, what do we think? Chat says, pray for the straight people. Pray for the straight people, bro. They're suffering, bro. Hold on, let me scroll up and read your comments, okay? Okay, hold on. Let me see. Okay. Let me scroll. Oh my God, you guys talked a lot. Hold on. Ice cream dates are bad now. Yeah, ice cream dates apparently are bad now. Who knew? You know, and I get it. Like, I think you're imagining like a 14-year-old going on an ice cream date or a coffee date. Guys, you can do the same activity and have it be different. You can go to the carnival on a date as a kid and as an adult, and the date is going to be different. Just because kids are also going on those dates doesn't mean it's not also an option, right? Okay. Chat said, so your standard changes when the money is different. Where is that comment? I just saw it. I'm not reading it verbatim, but I saw it. So your standards change when they make more money? Actually, yes, they should. Actually, your standards should change when they make more money, but not the way you think. Example, I think about this when going to a funeral. Like, if you don't have something appropriate to wear to a funeral because you don't have the money, come anyways. But if you have the money, you better dress appropriately. So when it comes to going on dates, it's a little different, but how you show up can matter. So example, a $200 date, if you're mega rich, like she said, might not matter. But guys, what is this fantasy of dating the mega rich? What is this fantasy? You know, unless you're checking these men's bank accounts, I don't know why you believe they have money. Because the one thing I've learned about men who say they have money, they don't. They pretend they have money. I can't tell you how many men have bragged, I have money, let me see that bank account. No. Oh, because you don't have it, girl. I don't believe you have it. I don't believe you have it, even if you have 1 million followers on Instagram. If you have 25 million followers on Instagram, I don't believe it. Okay? I just don't believe it. Hold on. She said, $200 dinner dates. Okay. $200 dinner dates are kind of funny. So most people aren't making, let's say, 6 figures, right? Most people aren't making that. I think the average US income, as an example, is, what is it, guys? 60,000? Hold on. What is the medium household income for a single person US? 42,000 in, this is a quick AI Google response. 42,000 according to the Federal Reserve Bank. Oh no, this is St. Louis. Hold on, is this Missouri? Or no, this is everything. Just kidding. Let me see. Let me pull out this. Yeah, CNBC median income, right? 42,000. So like the idea of a $200 bill just doesn't even make sense to me. Why aren't you cooking at home or something? Chaz says 200 is standard now. Going out is expensive. Yeah, but you don't have to go out. Yeah, don't say, guys, $200 is a normal going out bill nowadays. Where are you dating? Guys, please lock in. Just because you go out to dinner does not mean you have to buy drinks. Like, first of all, maybe it's because I don't buy drinks on a date ever. I'm a water girly. You know how there's water families and soda families? I'm a water family. My whole family, we're water family. We like our fucking water, bro. No. I refuse to engage in a world where you need to go out for $200. I refuse. If you're doing that, you're either not good at dating or picking restaurants, or you're just fucking don't go out in this economy. It's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous. I'm sorry. I refuse. Now, my partner and I were thinking, okay, maybe we haven't gone out in a while. So we looked up like restaurants I would go to in America. And yes, it can be that expensive, but that's crazy. Don't go on the date. Listen to me when I say this. One of the most attractive things to me is a person who's good with their money. And if you're going on a $200 date because you want to look cool, but it's coming at the expense of your wallet, you're stupid. You're stupid. You're bad with money. I am not going to date somebody who's so bad with money that they're going on $200 dates so they can look cool. I'm not. I refuse to engage in reality. If I am dating somebody, it's not because, first of all, they're not going to be rich, because rich people are often some of the skeeziest, horriblest, worst people I know. But also, you're not going to date a rich guy. You're going to date a guy who maybe makes okay money. There still needs a budget. You still need to budget. I just hate this narrative. I hate this narrative. And yes, if I can take myself on a $200 date, like she said, what does that have to do with what he can do? I do not hold people to my standard. I do not look at my partner and say, if I make this much money, you should be making this much money, because it doesn't make sense. I do not hold my partner to the same standard as myself unless it comes to values. So as an example, my partner and I both worked full time, but I came from the US and he came from Croatia. We're never going to make the same amount of money. The average Croatian salary for an average person is €1,000 a month. In the US, it's more than that. Do you get what I'm saying? The standard of where you live is different. For the same place, my partner, okay, as an example, my partner was in his bachelor pad before we met, and his apartment was pretty nice, like in terms of size and stuff, €300 a month. But the equivalent to that in the US would have been like maybe like 1,600 or 1,500 or maybe like depending on where the location was. So it's not about the money, it's about the quality and the standard. It doesn't make sense to me to tell me, and listen, maybe because guys, the amount of times in my life I've ever spent $200 at a restaurant, like I had to work for it. I had to work for it. Even in America, I was just there 3 years ago. And I'm telling you right now, the way I would have to work at it for it to be that much money, what are you getting at a restaurant? And maybe it's the way that I eat. I don't overeat. I don't overspend. I get exactly what I want for the moment. I almost don't ever get an appetizer because like I'm not going to eat that much food. I always get an entree and I get water or iced tea at most. Like, what are you getting? Where are you going? Like, that's a problem. Look, America is 73%, I think it is, I could be wrong, in credit card debt. So if you guys are going on dates, spending $200 and putting it on your credit card, that's what we should be talking about. That's actually what we should be talking about. And your Uber Eats doesn't count. You shouldn't be spending money you don't have. You know? Chet said, girl, even in my city, I rent $2,100. That's considered modern cheap. Okay, guys, I know people who live in San Fran who are paying $3,000 a month for like lower income. What does it matter? That's not the point. The point is, what are you doing with your life that this is your standard? Why is this your standard? Where are you in your standard? What are we talking about for a standard? And why are you acting like someone trapped you there? We are not trapped by the standard. We create the standard. That's all I'm saying. We create the standard. I know in California, 1-bedroom apartments are $2,000 a month. I'm saying, who made the standard? Why are we adhering to the standard? Why are you creating a construct? That's all I'm saying, right? I'm not saying like you're wrong. I'm not saying that's not your lived experience. I'm not saying it isn't hard. I'm saying, why are you making it harder on yourself by creating these standards that don't make sense? Not you, but like the whole conversation. Why are we allowing the standard to be set for us so we feel bad about ourselves when we should be adhering to our values, right? Chad said, I'm not saying it's a standard. I'm saying $200 for dinner isn't as crazy as I used to feel when I was younger. Okay, let me rephrase. In my bubble, for my standard, it's crazy. And I almost never have to do it. It is a big splurge that my partner and I are spending that much money anywhere. And I'm saying it doesn't have to be I'm saying you can still say it's crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying you're allowed to still be like, nah, I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing this game where like I'm accepting this as the standard unless my lifestyle and my income reflect that standard. If your lifestyle and your income reflect that standard, that's okay, but that's not the average American person should not be engaging in this as the reality. And the fact that we are playing into these capitalistic models is the reason we all fucking are suffering. Stop allowing Uber Eats to charge you this much money. Start learning to cook and be at home. This is not your fault, but you are playing into a system that is demanding this to be the standard. In America or in Europe, tipping is a part of the bill. It's like you don't have to tip, right? In America, tipping culture and all this stuff is a part of the system that we keep maintaining because we don't expect these businesses to pay people a fair wage. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like, if your standard is a standard, but you get to set the standard. But this is capitalism, baby. This is capitalism coming in to rot our brains and saying like, oh, you're not spending $300 for a date? What are you, poor? No, I'm better with money than you are. I refuse. Okay, listen, I'm a good tipper. So Chad said I hate tipping. You better tip. Listen to me. If you cannot afford to tip, you can't go out to eat. Just eat at home. Eat, make a picnic, and go out on a date. You know what I mean? If you can't afford to tip in America, don't go out. That's what I'm saying. You guys are acting like, not you guys, but like the internet is acting like there's an entitlement to like, I should be allowed to go on a $300 date. Girl, you know what I mean? What are we talking about? People should be paid fair wages. This is I dated a guy who refused to tip. It was the worst relationship. It was so bad. I dated a guy who refused to tip and I was so young, okay? And he was 12 years older. But now, never. I would never tolerate a person who refused to date or to tip. Even in Europe, we tip. We're tippers. In Europe, we tip. Not a lot because it's not expected, but we like to tip. Not every time, but like delivery people, we always tip. If they're getting on a scooter and driving in the hot ass sun to come give me some food, I'm tipping. Okay, because once a month we tend to get our favorite burger place delivered. Okay, we tip. Okay, so all I'm saying is like we set the standard. You set the standard. You get to set the standard in your individual relationship. But this idea that, oh, this is automatically bad or automatically a low effort date or automatically this what XYZ, it's in the it's the bubble you're in. The bubble you're in. The bubble you're in sets the standard. Okay? It's the bubble you're in and you get to set that standard. Okay? All right.
I will never understand
Okay, here we go. Coffee date. This is another one.
why people bash coffee dates as first dates as bad dates.
Let me explain why I think a coffee date is not a great option for a first date, and it's not really a lot to do about the money. When a man asks you out to have coffee, usually that means that he's not very serious, he doesn't know what he wants, or he doesn't really think you're it. But he's happy to meet up and let's see what happens, go with the flow type of a vibe. Now, if that's your vibe, then cool, go have coffee. But I think what happens is a lot of women are actually looking for something serious. And when they go on a coffee date with a guy and things kind of go okay, the guy sort of decides to stick around and they start having a relationship, they tend to end up disappointed. Either this guy, he's not really the guy who makes an effort, buys flowers for no reason, remembers your birthday, and takes you out on nice elaborate dates. Or he ends up being the guy that you live with for 5 years and he never ends up proposing. The pipeline is real. And the reason is that he started out...
Hold on. Chat says, I cook every night, but what's the problem with taking my wife out downtown for $200 bucks once a month with these prices, eating downtown Chicago and main drinks? Wait. I cook every night, but what's the problem with taking my wife out downtown? Nothing. $200 once a month when the prices are eating downtown. No, that's good. Wait, I just want to make it clear, guys. My partner and I do buy $300 dinners for rare occasions and for stuff that's fun, not for first dates. And if it is a first date, that's okay. But like, that's not an expectation. They're talking about $200 dates as the minimum expectation for a first date. And I'm saying no, right? We're talking about first dates. This whole conversation is around first dates. It's not about you dating your partner. Okay. Obviously, in my partnership, we do that. Okay. And I'm saying you can do that for a first date, but the expectation of it being for every first date is ridiculous. Like, no, for a special occasion, yes, but not for every first date. Yeah, you splurge on your girl, splurge on yourself. But saying that, oh, if a man can't spend $200 on me, like he's not worth it, like, I don't know what that means. Right? Okay.
Wishy-washy in the first place. He wasn't thinking, I know exactly what I want. And then when he saw you, he thought, you are my dream girl and I need to pursue you because you are the one that I want to marry. He's very unlikely to be the guy that after 6 months will start shopping for engagement rings and planning an elaborate...
What? Who is she talking about? Shopping for engagement rings and elaborate whatever?
Proposal.
Yeah, see, even that, the elaborate proposal. Guys, I'm going to be so real with you. I'm really in love with my partner. And my love is not expressed through going into debt before we're even married. I know so many couples who literally go $70,000 into debt before they're married just to have a wedding. Is this really how you want to start off your marriage near forever? Do you want to start off your life together in fucking debt? Is that how you want to do it? No. And this is capitalism. Wedding culture has convinced you that you have to go into debt to start off your marriage if you're really in love. Fuck that $10,000 engagement ring. Fuck your $50,000 wedding. Fuck all of this. No. This is how capitalism convinces you to stay poor because they think this is what love is. Love has nothing to do with diamonds. Okay?
He was never bringing that energy from the beginning. And I always say, start as you intend to continue. So why would you think that this guy who's just asking you out to have coffee is going to bring that sort of energy later in the relationship?
Wait. No. Chad says, to be honest, I think it's probably good for these girls to resonate with the whole not a coffee date thing. It seems like they are very like traditional. No, it's not traditional. Guys, traditional is a construct based off of nothing. It's not based off anything. What's the tradition? Did their daddies do that? Did their grandmas do that? Whose tradition? Which bubble? Tradition comes from culture. Tell me the culture that you didn't just start now. Tell me this isn't something you just started. Did your mother date this way? Because mine didn't, and they're traditional Catholics. Tradition is based off of what expectation? Which bubble is this traditional in? Go ahead and tell me. Which tradition are you carrying on? Because it sounds like you just made it up. No way it's traditional. Traditional from who? Thank you, chat, for the super chat. Well-rounded. Thank you so much. I don't know why some women think that if a man spends money or takes you to dinner, they are serious about you and want marriage. Because it's a scam. It's a scam. Men in my bubble will more likely spend more date on you on a first date to scam you than to love you. Because that's how they show up, pretending they're giving you the world, but they're not. What does this even mean, girls? That's why I'm saying it doesn't matter. It's not about how much was spent or how little was spent. It's about the quality of the interaction with the person, the quality of the interaction with the human being across from you. That's it. That's what we're talking about. This whole narrative is so stupid, bro.
Me?
Let's go.
Personally, I love a coffee date because a coffee date's going to take place between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. And there's no way you think you're getting ass at 2 p.m., okay? But the audacity that some of y'all have to attack a woman, God forbid, because she's slightly larger and there's no way she's getting asked out enough to have expectations for what she has on a date.
Chet said you never know. I was going to say, I mean, and after, you never know.
Mind you, at the age some of the bitches I've seen talking about this girl have been, it's embarrassing. And here's the thing. No matter how you choose to insult people in a tit for tat, even though a lot of y'all are just getting at the tat and there was no tit to begin with, it's always going to look like a projection. And certain people are always going to see your reads and think, oh, she's saying that because she feels that way about herself. I'm comfortable insulting a bitch on her personality, on her actions.
Chad said, Chad says, I'm starting to feel crazy, this coffee debate. How is this controversial? Bro, I'm telling you, because people aren't thinking. Listen, y'all with peace and love, the world is in a crisis of realization that we're so unhappy. And I'm telling you right now, if you look at the couples who are the happiest, there is just like a level of wholesomeness to it and goodness to it. And we're all just like so shallow in our thinking that we're not really being honest with ourselves. That's why I say, like, whatever standard you have for yourself, I'm not interested in, but also your standard isn't mine. But the only reason I would judge your standard is if I thought it came from a bad place. That's it. Because I'm judging from like a health perspective. That's it. It's like saying, oh, I think guys who take you on a concert on the first date are crazy. It's like, well, I don't know. Like, did you want to go to a concert? Is it your favorite band? Then I would think that's like thoughtful. Or like, oh, a guy who wants to take you away for a weekend, that's crazy. Like, it is a little crazy because now you're trapped in a room far away from your friends and family with a guy you don't know. But also maybe he was in your dating circles already. Because here's the thing. You're thinking a first date means a stranger. To me, a first date could mean somebody you've known in the scene you're socializing in for months. A first date with somebody could be somebody's cousin that you've known, you know what I mean, in the neighborhood. Because I am like, are you guys talking about dates with strangers you don't know? Or first dates with people in your community? Because I tend to date people in my community. I tend to have the best dates with people who are in or know people around me. You know what I mean? Who are basically recommended. Hey, Britt, I think you'd really like this guy. Or, hey, Britt, this person, like, you might really vibe with them. It's like the question is, who are you? Who are you? Who are you talking about? First date when? First date who? First date from where? It's all based on the context. That's what I'm saying. A coffee date could make a lot of sense for the right context.
Shout out to that girl who holding her own with this coffee date video, okay? Because she eating y'all up. She eating y'all up with this logic she spitting at y'all. She hitting y'all with that Dylon hot fire, you know what I mean? When I first seen her video, my nose was a little turned up when she said that, because I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with a coffee date? Ain't nothing wrong with a coffee.
Also, I saw this other TikTok that said, when did we normalize TikToking and driving? Yeah, y'all are on your phone too much. Why are you making content while driving? That is crazy. Why are you guys actually doing TikTok when you're driving? When did we stop? What are we doing?
Coffee date? I went on a coffee date. I was with that motherfucker for 6 years. We got married. And then I started seeing the comments, and I was just like, yeah, this is not too kosher. People talking about people's looks and all this other stuff. Because looks is relative, y'all. Like, looks truly are relative. You know?
I mean, I agree. I think the woman's original TikTok was bombarded by really shitty people, but I would argue that as a progressive person, this is the problem with deconstructing, is we really think anything left of right is better or good in the end, but I would argue that you need to be left of left. And that's the difference between a liberal and a leftist, baby. You want to be left of left of left. Because being left of right isn't enough. And that's the dilemma. Okay, misogynists are going after this woman, but I'm saying, but what if you go further? See, it's going to sound like I'm siding with the men who hate this woman, but I want to make it clear, I'm not siding with either of them. I think both of them are stuck. Both of them, there's not only two options, guys, there's a third fucking option. And off of that, there's thousands of options. Okay? That's the problem. We got to go so left, we don't even see the right anymore. So left that liberals are so far away, we got to squint our eyes to see them. Like this. Because liberals, they're still into the capitalistic game. Even if you get dating advice from liberals, they're still going to preface it on capitalism.
She fine as somebody. She fine as somebody.
Which is why the conversation is about, should men have work? Or what if your man doesn't work? Yeah, that's a capitalistic narrative around what it means to show up in a relationship. You're only as good as the money you make. That's capitalism, baby. The idea that your partner is only as good as the paycheck they bring home is capitalism. And that same fucking patriarchal system that relies on like the relationship with capitalism that it has will convince you that stay-at-home moms was a thing when it never was. Women who didn't work because they literally were barred from working opportunities or they were in very rich, wealthy families. Most women worked. Most women participated in the labor that it took to maintain a home. Most women had to work throughout history. You know what I keep seeing in the world is you guys are so TikTok brained that they watch really wealthy people on the internet and think that's a standard of living they'll ever attain when they don't understand their families are sending them $50K a month just to shop. Like I see so when I see girls, especially on the internet, who have a rich lifestyle, I go, who are their daddies? Because they are making it seem like this is their normal standard. It is not a normal standard. It is a curated TikTok dream that you think you're going to attain when you were never married into a bubble that would ever allow you to attain it. And these girls aren't even that happy. That's why they shop so much. Because they are literally coping. Okay, so again, this narrative we have about dating and coffee dates and all that stuff and rich men and I'm dating a millionaire, girl, please.
She ugly to somebody. Just like you fine to somebody, you ugly to somebody. It don't matter who you are. You ugly to somebody, goddamn it, and you fine to somebody.
That's true.
But yeah, I was like, at first I was turned, my nose was turned up because, I was like, yeah, I was married. I got married to somebody who I had a coffee date with. And then I had to really think about that shit. And I was like, you know what? That shit ended in divorce 3 months after marriage.
Okay, but that wasn't because you went on a coffee date. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got divorced. We went on a coffee date. Guys, it's not the coffee date. It's not the coffee date. Oh, he only wore black clothes. So, oh, he was 5 foot. So that was, guys, it's not the coffee date. It's not the coffee date.
So the coffee date discourse is back here with a vengeance. And I have to ask again, why are people triggered over this? Because in my head, I'm just like, oh, people like what they like. Is it not? Is it not that simple? Because it feels like it's that simple to me. Like, can we acknowledge that some people don't want to do the same stuff that you want to do?
Chad says just because somebody's married doesn't make them a relationship expert. Hey, just because you're a parent doesn't mean you're good at it. Agree. It's not about being married. It's not about being single. It's not about having kids. It's about the quality of your understanding and relationship to life. Like, it's your quality as a parent. It's your quality as a married person. It's your quality of life as a single person. Like, just because you're a parent doesn't mean you know anything about parenting.
And maybe that means like you're not a match. And it's not like, I mean, I think some people can turn it into a value judgment, but like at a very like simple interpretation, it's not a value judgment. It's just kind of like, oh, that's me, that's you. Okay, moving on. For example, like I'm vegan, right? Back when I was dating, I would always need to kind of make sure whoever I was going out with was like gonna be cool with dating a vegan, because some people aren't, and that's fine. If that party's not for you, then great, who cares? Like, right? But I want to make sure that I find someone who is okay with that and doesn't mind. I don't care what they do as long as like they're cool with me. And no one would throw a big stink over that, right? It would just be like, oh yeah, I want a partner who like will go eat chicken wings with me. Sorry. We just like different things,
I think Chet's right that this conversation will never die. None of it will. We'll be debating what is love 200 years from now. That's what philosophy is. Like, philosophy is the realization that we all move in cycles, and we'll never stop asking ourselves, what is love? We will never stop asking ourselves, what is a man? What is a woman? What does it mean to exist? What does it mean to be a person? Like, that's the reality of the world we exist in. We will never be done asking ourselves, you know, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does any of this mean, right? Like, what does any of this mean for real? Okay. Chad says, how is she vegan equating veganism, eating meat, to not liking coffee date? No, she's saying it's a preference at the end of the day, which I like. She's not, because she's probably not vegan. Like, she's probably a vegan who doesn't mind dating a meat eater, because she's probably not philosophically a vegan. Because I think if you were philosophically a vegan and you were just dating, it'd probably be pretty hard to date a non-vegan. But at the same time, I wouldn't put it past people. But she's probably thinking of it like a diet preference. Like, oh, I don't eat meat. Is that okay? Because some people are really like against it. It's like, I think that's what she's trying to communicate, maybe. Okay, here's another guy.
You know why so many men and sadly women are so mad at that woman that said that she doesn't go on coffee dates? Well, the men are mad. And let me be clear, the immature men are mad. The immature men are mad because, well, they have no standards, because they're not allowed to make any standards, because even if—
Hold on. Chet said, I do think it's shallow for her saying the first date with this guy has to be the expense of $300, but that's her preference, and I don't really think that's bad. I think your preferences are bad. I think if your preferences are shallow, they're bad. That's my value system. You don't have to agree, but I do think I can judge people on like, yeah, that's bad. Like people who are like, I don't date fat people. Okay, yeah, I think that's bad. Or like, I don't date disabled people. I think that's bad. Oh, I wouldn't date somebody who my friends didn't think was hot. Yeah, I think that's bad. I don't think you're the most evil person who ever existed, but I think you're a bad thinker. I think you haven't deconstructed. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying I am judging it. I'm saying I'm judging you as a shallow person. It's like the men who are like, my girl always has to look perfect and she always has to be ready. And when she has a baby, she has to spring like back to her normal body in 3 months. It's like, yeah, I'm going to judge you. Like, I'm not condemning you. You're not like a serial rapist or something, but I don't think you're healthy. And I think we're going to raise our kids are going to be bad. I think dating you is going to feel like I'm fucking getting gaslit every day because you're going to judge me for what I'm eating and how I'm existing. And like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, I think it's bad. I think being shallow is bad. I think we should encourage people to be deep, considerate, compassionate thinkers. And you cannot say you're a deep, compassionate thinker and say a date needs to be $300. Right? Ches said having a preference is shallow. Most preferences are shallow, yes. Most preferences, because preferences are shallow things, okay? They are not value decisions. If you say, I prefer strawberries over peaches, and I'm going to judge people who eat strawberries, that's shallow because a preference is shallow. It's not a values difference. I don't just prefer means you're open to both options, but you like one over the other, guys. If you say, I prefer strawberries, you're not saying I don't eat peaches. You're saying I prefer strawberries, but I'll eat a peach. A preference is not it's not an alienation from a thing. Okay, standards, preferences, values, all different. Okay, so yes, if your preferences are shallow enough to dictate what you're doing, it's not a preference and it's certainly not a standard because have you even deconstructed why you wanted it in the first place? What does a $300 date have to do with love? Now, if you told me, oh, I'm not here for love, Brittany, I just want a rich husband, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I think that's really bad. But, you know, at least you know you're a bitch. At least you know you're shallow. At least you know you're like that group of people who are making the planet worse. You know what I mean? That's it. Like that's what you need to understand is like, at least you know you're a gold digger. At least you know you're a man who's like, I only care if women are pretty. I would, the moment my girl, you know, gets 5 pounds heavier, I'm divorcing her. Yeah. As long as you know you're a piece of shit. But obviously I'm going to tell everybody you're a piece of shit. Don't date this person. They're a piece of shit. They're literally going to ditch you the moment you get fat. Like, are we looking for love, companionship, longevity? Because I hope you know, generally, people get fatter as they get older. We get slower. Our looks start to fade. Our hair is going to go to gray. We're going to get Alzheimer's. Who's going to clean my butt when I have Alzheimer's if you're so fucking shallow? You know? Ches says, let's say you wouldn't date a gamer person. Is that shallow? And how's that different from someone who's fat or whatever? If you're on a date with person and you're like, oh, do you play video games at all? I'm not going to date you. You're saying if a guy or a girl picks up a goddamn video game, you're not going to date them? Why? It's like, oh, I don't date people who play video games. Why? Oh, I think people who play video games are all perverts on the internet. Well, that's not true. You're saying anyone who engages in video games you wouldn't date? Or are you saying, oh, I would prefer a person who shares similar hobbies to me? I have nothing against video games. But if it's the reason you're not going to date somebody, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're not going to date somebody because they play fucking the Switch? Why? It's all about why. Why? Jet said, oh, the person who told me it's not enough to be not racist. You have to be anti-racist. Preference is only a date. White people, cognitive dissonance. Wait, the person who told me it's not enough to not be racist. You have to be anti-racist. Preference is to only date white people, cognitive dissonance. What? Wait, so they told you, wait, tell me again. So they told you, they said to you, it's not good enough to be not to be racist, you have to be anti-racist, but they also only prefer to date white people? Because that would be a cognitive dissonance. Because obviously it's not enough not to be racist, you have to be anti-racist. But, oh my God, explain that to me. What? Chat says, Britt, do you see the number one most unattractive hobby men can have is watching anime? Yeah, I understand, because the stereotype from people is that anime is like pervert guys who watch 12-year-old hentai or something. But obviously the reality is that anime is a medium that's like saying I hate people from Japan. Just say you're racist, bro. What do you mean you hate anime? That's a stereotype from white people in America who think anime is like some stereotype they've learned about Japanese people. Anime is Japanese animation. You're just racist. Like, oh, you don't like it because it comes from a different country? Like, what are you saying? It's just animation from Japan. That's what anime is. So if you hold the stereotype, you haven't deconstructed what it is, right? Oh yeah, and then they'll sit around and watch South Park or Rick and Morty. It's like, what are you talking about? Okay, back to the video.
Even if they set standards, no one's going to take them seriously. Same thing with the women. The sad women who are doing the same thing is because they're mad. They never set standards for themselves in their lives. Maybe some of them feel like there's no way she could set standards. I look better than her. And so if I don't have standards, you shouldn't have standards either. They're mad at themselves. They're not mad at this woman. Nobody's mad at this woman.
Well, she's not even mad over coffee though. This woman doesn't really care about coffee dates. And if she does, that's crazy. Like, caring about a coffee date is crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's just as crazy to say I don't go on coffee dates as it is to say that, like, oh, you think you're too good for coffee dates. You're all crazy. All of you are crazy. It doesn't matter what the date is. It matters what you guys decide to do as a unit and how you learn about each other and spend time together. It's about humanizing the person. Okay? Chad said the difference is sometimes it's a signpost for values though, right? Like if someone was a Republican, perhaps they're a good person, but perhaps you would take the chance. Okay. Being a Republican says I have values that are rooted in bigotry. There's no such thing as a good Republican because all Republicans, the requirement of being a Republican is that you're a bigot. The requirement of being a Republican is that you would literally hate black, brown, gay, and trans people. The requirement of being a Republican is that you literally vote for fascism. This is a values difference. You cannot be a good, deconstructed, progressive person who cares about humanity and be a Republican. You can be a good person to such a standard that is so low, I wouldn't even consider it to be a Republican. Like, Republican people can be good people with the standard being in the fucking hell, like the bar is in hell. Okay? Chad said, can a coffee date be a preference? Yes, if you don't like coffee. Or you can say, hey, I am happy to go on a coffee date, but my preference is that we go to a coffee place that also has more options than coffee because I don't drink coffee. Oh my God. Yeah, of course. Let's go to a coffee shop that also sells something other than coffee. Right? Chet says, so you think we shouldn't have preferences or we should focus on good preferences only? Or how does a good preference look like? I think we should focus on being good people, having good morals and being compassionate. We should focus away from the materialistic through a capitalistic lens and focus on the dignified relationship between two people who exist on a planet together. You know what I mean? Like, we should have a conversation about what it means to be a good person in the world. Chet says, what if I don't drink alcohol? I don't drink alcohol. It makes me sick. My partner drinks, but it's not a big thing for them. You know what I'm saying? If my partner wants to go out with the boys and get some drinks, if my partner wants to buy some fucking apple cider from the grocery store, they can do that. I'm not going to stop them from drinking. But if my partner was at the bar every weekend, I was like, oh, that's a lifestyle difference. That is a lifestyle difference. But I am not going to not date my partner if they go to the bar on occasion. But I'm probably not going to marry a person who needs to be at the bar every weekend because I'm not at the bar every weekend. And so every weekend we're not spending together doesn't make sense. It's a lifestyle difference. The same thing if my partner is camping out every weekend, but I don't go camping. Why would I date a person I'm going to miss out every weekend with? It's about dignifying the people in the relationship, saying, I love you. Let's see if we're compatible. Let's see if we have the same things in common. Let's see what's going to be a deal breaker and not be a deal breaker. It's saying, I am invested in knowing that you are a person on this planet just like I am. Let's see if we can make something magical, or let's see if this was just a moment in time. Okay? Just said, honestly, examine your preferences to start. Exactly. Where do they come from? Exactly. Why? Etc. A lot of the times you'll find your preferences are misconceptions or false narratives. Exactly. Yes. Chat says, oh, I get it now. I was a bit confused. What you're saying is that give the opportunity to the fat person unless the fat person doesn't fit into my values. Yeah, I'm saying something like I would never date a fat person is like saying something that if my partner is disabled or ever has an autoimmune disorder or ever has something happen to them where they're fat, I wouldn't date them. Or saying, oh, I'd only date a fat person if they didn't have a choice in being fat. Yes, you can have conversations about values, but really you have to ask yourself, where does it come from? What is the value of that person's fatness in relation to like their actions? What does it tell you about that person that they're fat? Because often we're making assumptions about what we think it means. Oh, they're lazy. But see, I don't believe in lazy narratives. I don't think people are lazy. I think people are traumatized. So I think obesity can be oh my God. Oh my God. I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. My troubles. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Am I back? I'm back. We're back, boys. Are we back? Okay. Yes. No. Yes, we're back. Lord, I almost thought I lost you, bro. Okay, we're back. Okay, do we have any questions or comments on this? This is all the TikToks I wanted to show you today. Short stream because I'm also going to go record Pure Ultimatum. Tell me your questions right now. What else should we talk about in relation to this? Right? I'm just saying the world is shallow enough. Why are we contributing to it? The world is already suffering from intimacy. Why are we adding to it? Our grandma and our mother's divorce, statistics didn't come out of anywhere. They came out of somewhere, and we're continuing those cycles by continuing to be shallow. Okay, what are our last minute thoughts on this? Chat says, wish these people ask themselves, are these standards based on fear, protecting themselves off of assumptions or possible character flaws? Or are these grounded standards based on joy and values? Exactly. I already know the world is suffering, right? This is how my brain works. If I already know the world is suffering, and I already know statistically marriage isn't looking too good for people, then I have to take everything people are doing and rework it. If tradition didn't work, then we have to reform. Right? Chat said, interesting. I think I have to reflect on standards having to do with values and not on preferences. Yeah, I think people really mistake preferences for standards. But preferences, like, where do you prefer to eat tonight? That's not a standard question. That's your mood question, right? Versus, hey, like my first date question I always ask people is, how do you feel about trans kids? Because that's not a preference. I'm not going to date somebody who's like, oh, I prefer my kid not to be trans. That's not a preference. Not really. Oh, I prefer my kid, to look a certain way. Like this is a values difference. Okay? I don't really believe in the narrative of like, oh, I prefer not to date this type of person. Like, oh, I just like, are you falling in love with the consciousness? Are you falling in love with their body, their skin color, their bank account? Are you falling in love with them? Or are you falling in love with the package? And I know people say, oh, you're the whole package. But what does that package mean? If the person you love, you can say that, oh, I married the whole package. But it should be specific to you. If you are saying I married the whole package, is the standard of the whole package based off of somebody else or your standard? Is it based off of the world standard of the whole package or your standard of the whole package? Because everyone's whole package is going to look different. And that's really the question. Chat says we all make judgment calls to protect ourselves. Is it rooted in actual self-preservation or trauma-based fear? Exactly. I think, and you said I'm still learning. I still struggle to learn the difference. We all do forever. I think one of the things I want to reassure you guys is you have the right to be reasonably guarded. You have a right to be open-minded and open with boundaries. That's what we say here. I'm open, but I have boundaries. So I went on a lot of first dates during COVID, if you don't know my story, and I never bothered to get to a second or third for literally almost all of them, except for a couple of people. And that's because I was having value-based dates. Let's talk about values. I said, what are the red flags what is something about you that could be a red flag to other people? Example, I am a nudist. I'm a nudist, philosophically nudist, and I have an OF. That is usually a huge red flag for a lot of people. And I think there's a reason for that to be a red flag. Like if I was dating a sex worker and she said, oh, I'm an OF, I'd be like, what kind of an OF worker are you? Are you the capitalistic kind? Because that's a red flag. That's a values difference. If I meet a girl on OF who runs her OF to make the most amount of capital at the expense of her clientele, I'm not going to date her. Not because she's on OF, but because she's a capitalist. Because that's a values difference. But if I dated a girl who was on OF and, let's see, I'm trying to think of a good example. Oh, she said, do you want to do couples content together? I said, oh, I have a preference not to do that because the clientele I have on my OF is not about watching me have sex with other people. That's a preference difference. And we're like, okay, we are running our businesses differently, but we love that we're both on OF and we're both ethical. But like, it's not a values difference. I don't care. If I was poly as an example, or had an open relationship, I wouldn't necessarily care if my partner was engaging in boy-girl content or girl-girl content for her work. Like, I don't think that would matter to me, but the standard changes based off of us coming together. Example, poly or monogamous. I'm not poly or monogamous inherently. I choose the structure of relationship based off the people who I'm participating with. And because I only believe in marrying your high compatibility partner, it means that like this is the person that is so right for you and so good for you and so, reasonable for you that there's like no other reason to pursue anything else. And in this moment, you get to form a relationship with them. So the first person I met who is this person is monogamous. They have a preference for monogamy, right? And so that's the problem. That's the difference. Is like they and I together decided on monogamy. They have a stronger preference for monogamy than I do. Do they have a preference or a value? I'd have to ask them the difference for them. See, even the person I married, I still have to confirm with them their thought process. But for me, if I had dated a poly person, they were high compatibility, we would have to engage in other high compatibility relationships even when poly, right? So no, basically, I don't believe in dating people because, oh, I date this person because we love video games together and I date this person because we both like sushi. It's like, that's friendship. That's not dating for me. I don't want to date people just because they fulfill one thing I'm missing. Chat said it unfortunately narrows my pool to probably 5 people, as it should. Guys, you should be looking for the 1 in a million. Not that there's not millions of options, but the person who's your high compatibility partner will be something rare, which is why you have to be okay being single, because it's better to be single than to settle into a relationship where you're going to regret that unionship. Discord said, do you think poly versus monogamy is a values difference? I think I've seen some poly people who it is a value thing. I think it's a preference and a value system. It's dependent on the person. So for me, it's a preference more than a value. I don't think it matters to me if you're poly or monogamous, though I might have a preference off the relationship I'm having with my partner. But for some people, it's a value difference. So I think that one is dependent on the person. Yeah. Chat says the higher compatibility rule is not something that could restrict polyamory. Yes, it would be a restriction on the polyamory, but it would have to be agreed upon by the participants in the polyamory. So there's open poly, there's relationship anarchy, there's open monogamish, there's open relationships, there's lovers, friends with benefits. There's so many different ways to construct a relationship. It's going to be completely dependent on the participants in the relationship. So this is how we're going to wrap it up, girls. Every relationship should be a communication and an agreed upon conclusion based off the participants in it. Okay? You and your partner, you when you're single, get to actually have exactly the relationship you want. Period. This is why you should read The Ethical Slut. It's about constructing a relationship that is healthy, has informed consent, and is actually good for both of you, or how many participants are involved. You get to have exactly the relationship you want. And make sure it's based off your values and your standards, not based off of some like idealistic, silly childhood dream. You know what I mean? Chat says, would you mind if your partner wanted to open the relationship and change it to poly? It's not about me minding. I don't think about it that way. If my partner came to me and said, I think I want to be poly, first I'd be like, okay, this is so not a part of your personality type. What's up? That is not my partner's personality type. So first we'd be like, do we need to go to the doctor? Because you're acting crazy. That would be crazy. That like acting like, if I came to my partner and just said, I think I want to go to church, he'd be like, we have to go to the doctor. Because that's kind of crazy. It is so opposite of our personality. The person I am marrying has a type of personality, a type of value system. And for them to change their personality overnight would be the red flag. Not the fact that they want to be poly, but the fact that it came out of nowhere. Right? Chat said coexistence or cohabitation, and the difference. Coexistence is roommates, siblings, family members. Cohabitation is like building a home together in my mind. We cohabitate. We're partnerships. Coexistence is all of society. I coexist with people every day because we have to exist together. But cohabitation is to build a habitat. Their home is your habitat. And so we want to form this habitat together, this environment together. And you can do that with family or friends, of course. But, you know, for me, I don't do life with my family and friends. I do life with only my partner. All right, girls, I'm going to cut it there, but I'll be back tomorrow. Don't you worry. I'm going to go ahead and end it here because I got to get dinner and I got to record Ultimatum. Great conversation. And we'll talk about more tomorrow because I look forward to it. And just we'll end on this question. Can values change over time? Yes, and they should for the better. Yes, and they should for the better. The values I have now will get better, stronger, and hopefully morph into something more profound as I get older and wiser. Your values should change in a good direction, not in a bad one. That's the difference. Don't flip-flop. Don't go backwards. You should have better values as you age. Absolutely. All right, girls. Great stream. I really appreciate it. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.